morning, boys and girls. Yes, we are on. We are ready. It is, 10:59, slightly early, which is always good to start a little early. In fact, actually, we were going to have Alex Marvez at 1. He has to be on slightly early. So I said, hey, man, we'll get you on around 12:50. And he's like, all right, cool. So that's the beauty. We can always rearrange things. Which is a beautiful thing on this show. Good morning to one and all out there. Thank you for tuning in every single day. Thank you for downloading the show as you always do. And remember to give us the thumbs up and share the broadcast and subscribe as always. Lots of things to get to as we have another draft day program. We're loaded with a bunch of guests. Max Starks is going to join us at the bottom of this hour. Former offensive lineman, which, by the way, give him a heads up that you're going to call him because I think he wanted a heads up for sure on that one with Max. So we'll have a little fun with Max, and we'll get him on, and we'll, listen, there's no doubt that offensive linemen are going to be, I would imagine, important in this draft because I think the Dolphins will be picking them. So Max will break it down for us and tell us what he thinks about the linemen coming in. You know who I want at 5. I've wanted Tristan Wirfs, and, the talk. It's funny how the talk has fluctuated, and I think the talk has fluctuated for the Dolphins. Do you know why draft talk has fluctuated? Because they don't know what's going on. That's why. That's why you hear, oh, well, no, they're going to go with Tua. Well, no, now they like Herbert. And now, have you noticed that more and more people are now going to what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, take a position player, okay? On Twitter, I know it was retweeted a bunch of times. Somebody asked me, what do you think they're going to do? And I said, I think they're going to take a position player. And when you hear this sway of opinions one way and another, and that's because they're fishing. And let me tell you, as a Dolphins fan, you got to love that because they got to keep guessing because they don't know what direction the organization is going in. The Miami Heat, they're the only organization in town that does everything pretty much the right way, correct? I mean, nobody's perfect, obviously. I know they went through the stretch with James Johnson and Whiteside and all that crap. But 99% of the time, the Heat is as close to perfect as it gets as an organization, top to bottom. And one of the things that is their strength is that you have no idea what the hell they're doing. You don't even know what goes on in that organization. Whereas with the Dolphins, the Marlins, the Panthers, you name it, everybody else, you find out about what's going on. And with the Heat, you never find out. Well, with the Dolphins, that's what's been going on this offseason. The writers don't know locally. They don't get to talk to Chris Greer. He doesn't pick up the phone and call them in the middle of the night and say, well, hey, yeah, we like this, but keep it between us. And he's not doing any of that. He's not trying to win over a media member so the media member can then write positive things about him. Okay? And even I've noticed sometimes when media members have had some comments, I can tell they're one-sided. I can tell they're influenced by the other side, not the Greer side. And that's why you see and watch all these opinions on television, on radio, on print. Why? Because they don't know what the hell is going on. And that's awesome, okay? If you're a Dolphins fan, be happy about that because that tells you now that these guys, they get that part of it, right? The next is convincing a lot of you out there that they're the right people to turn the organization around, and only winning does that. Now, they did pretty much they did a nice job of convincing people last year because a lot of Flores won a lot of people over, yours truly. I know we can't say he's arrived, but hell, man, how can you not say damn great job, dude. Right? I mean, if you see Brian Flores, you gotta, well, you can't shake his hand, but you elbow bump or you give him a salute and say, Coach, you and your staff did a hell of a job last year, right? That's all you can say. So over the next couple of years, it's about Greer and McKenzie and Allen and the scouting staff proving that they're the team and they're the front office to turn things around. But that part, that element of it, I laugh because I love it. You know what I mean? I've told you guys I love this process of tearing it all the way down and rebuilding it in a football way, not a fantasy football way, which is, that's what our Dolphins have been doing for 20 plus years. You do know that, right? It's been fantasy football. That's what Daniel Snyder does with the Washington Redskins for many, many years. When you play the fantasy football game and you just want to buy the shiny objects and you want to suck at the draft, it's not going to help you. And you're not going to keep your own players and all that vicious cycle. That stuff is done. But the good thing is we see that stuff is done. We see that they're moving on, right? Which is really, really cool. But I like this, that I laugh at how people are constantly guessing what the Dolphins are doing. And they have no freaking idea. And we've gone in a full circle. It's Tua. No, they like Herbert. And now people say, well, you know what? I think they're going to pass up on both. And now they're going to take a position player. And then the new thing is they're using 18 now to move up to try to get another tackle or to get a quarterback or whatever. You know what I mean? So notice how the stories all change. And that's because people are talking to other people, not the Dolphins. And then the other general manager is guessing. And then the reporter's writing what he's guessing. That's all that's going on. And I love it because nobody knows exactly what the hell they're doing. And this is great for us, man. It's great drama for us as we build it up for Thursday, as we get ready for number 5. I think it's going to be so cool, man. I really do. It's going to be a lot of fun to do all of this. All right, Max Starks at 11:30, Shawn Salisbury at noon, Alex Marvez, the Marvelous One, at 12:50. I got it at 1, but he's going to do 12:50 instead. And Cameron Wolf is going to join us at 1:30 also, Dolphins writer for ESPN. And we'll have a little fun with him. I saw a story. Now, Bill, you went to school with me for 3 years. So you saw what 80s schooling was like. And obviously you experienced 70s schooling because you're old enough, unfortunately. But, I mean, unfortunately, we're old. We're old. We did the 70s. So I don't know if you saw this story in the Sun Sentinel, but there is a school teacher that is being reprimanded for saying things that he shouldn't say about his students. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that story at all?
I didn't see anything about any of that.
Okay. So there's a teacher, a Broward teacher, accused of calling his kids brats and dummies. Okay? Now, and he's facing suspension. Now, listen, I'm not condoning any of this, but I did kind of laugh at it. I will say, again, not the right thing to do. Okay?
This is that soft skin those millennials have.
Right. So a Broward High School teacher could be fired Tuesday for allegations he called his kids names like brat, idiot, and dummy, and he told one should be in handcuffs. Eric DeLucia, a language arts and technology teacher at Piper High. Piper, I believe, is a school with the first school with the radio station. Anyway, has a history of inappropriate conduct and verbally abusive interaction with his students, and according to recommendations to fire him, which Broward County School Board will consider today. The complaint says DeLucia makes about $52,000, has worked for the district since 2006, received multiple warnings and reprimands, and is on probation from the state's Education Practice Commission. The 45-year-old told the Sun Sentinel the accusations are outright false and in some cases are misconstrued in others. All right? So he goes, it's all bias investigation. It's all based on hearsay. And the complaint describes 2 incidents involving students in the technology class, and a student was not in his seat, and DeLucia told him, "Hey, come here, dummy," and called him an idiot while laughing at the boy, the complaint says. DeLucia told the Sun Sentinel students was wrestling and play fighting in class, and he told them, "You're acting like a baby." But he said he didn't use the word idiot. He did tell the students he was acting like a wrestling dummy. Now, I could keep on reading the story and Brat and all that stuff, and I'm kind of laughing, right? Because I literally heard teachers say worse than that in my day. Like, you should be in jail. Like, you'll never amount to anything. Like, I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? What's the worst thing you ever heard a teacher tell a kid?
Clowning on our way Friday after taking our morning test to church, St. John's, 3rd grade. And I'm, of course, clowning and, messing around, and get pulled out of the line by Mr. Pozo and told, "Billy Breton, you're like fire in a brimstone. You're going to be prowling all your life."
There you go. Exactly. That's it. And you are a problem your whole life.
And I, ha, 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 yes, you betcha I will.
So he was right. Now, here's the thing about all of this. I think I told you guys the story of I had a PE teacher that like openly hate Cubans. And we used to laugh about it. Now, again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right. All I'm saying is, man, this is just overboard. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, because I can tell the difference between us as kids and the kids nowadays that we baby so much, right? Because back in the day when you got paddled and I got paddled, okay, you then got your ass kicked at home because you got paddled. Okay, that's how we roll.
It was always a double dip, man.
Yeah, that was, you didn't care.
Your fear was a getting back home.
That's it. You didn't care if the principal was pissed at you. You didn't care if the assistant principal was pissed at you. You didn't care if your teacher was pissed at you. You didn't care if your teacher grabbed you by the ear and dragged you to a corner and said, "Stand there." Oh, and by the way, didn't you used to wear a dunce's cap? My point is that they're so soft and sensitive in today's world, okay? The kids are such wimps overall today, and that's our fault as parents, that we make them soft. Our parents toughened us up, and then we've gotten to a point in this world where we try to teach our parents to be as soft as possible with our kids. So then all we do is develop soft kids. Let me explain something to you. Whatever the teacher ever told kids, okay, and I'm talking to people that are in their 40s and 50s, okay? I cannot relate to you in your 30s. I don't know how your schooling was. But I think that if you're in your 40s, I think you got pretty much the same schooling I got at 53, okay? And if you're 63, then you definitely got the same schooling I got, all right? And in our school, okay, in any school in the country pretty much, all of us, back in the day, 70s and 80s, our teachers might have said all kinds of stuff to students. And then we would laugh about it. We would be pissed off behind the scenes. Some people would be scheming to try to get back at the teacher. I mean, seriously, that's how it really was. You never told your parents. Never. Any kid that was just a regular, there's always the, real wussy kid, whatever. Okay, maybe I can see, Waldo going to mom and saying something that, "Oh, I saw a teacher say this to a kid." Not that they would say it to Waldo ever, but Waldo saw it with everybody else. But most of us, we would never go crying to our parents and tell them what the teacher said. That wasn't in our DNA. Just like in today's world, if a kid does something bad in class and the teacher turns around and says, "Hey, if somebody doesn't tell me who it was," everybody's going, and within 5 seconds, they're ratting that kid out. Within 5 seconds, this wimpy ass Generation Z, millennials, they're pointing at the kid. What would happen in our day? Everybody would. Now, behind the scenes, after we had to do whatever we had to do, we would then rip into the kid. Everybody would then lay into the kid after. So the teacher never found out. So even if that kid screwed it for the whole class, the class would get back at him or her, but not for the teacher. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I dead on 100% right or wrong?
There was this wall that you kept it within you, and you didn't want any adults to know because the adults would end up talking and make phone calls, and then your little problem becomes a monster.
Right, referrals, suspension, parents kicking your ass. We eliminated all of that. That's why the DeLucia guy would have never gotten exposed in our world. Because in our world, you called us something, it was like, okay, whatever. It was like water off a duck's back. It wasn't going to affect us. In fact, I think a lot of kids that heard that kind of negativity from teachers used it as motivation. In fact, I have one of our listeners yesterday on Twitter. He goes, hey, one of my teachers said I would never amount to anything, and I think he's like an engineer now or whatever, or something like that, and now I'm going for my master's and all that, and I would love to show her that I did make something out of myself and all that. That's what you used it for. You didn't go in the car when your parents picked you up in 6th grade or 7th grade. And that day, if you were one of those kids that the teacher said something to you derogatory, you didn't go, Mommy, the teacher called me this. You never did that in the day. Never. That stuff didn't fly, bro. It's just, to me, when I see this, I just see softness all over, bro. That's all. I saw that story and I'm like, soft-ass kids. I mean, really, seriously. It just, we grew up with Archie Bunker and George Jefferson and Red Fox, and, we grew up with brutal honesty, brutal comedy that was used as an indirect shot at society, that was there to teach you a lesson, that was there to teach you even the truth with a joke. And we all could always accept it, and we all could move on and even learn from that moment. Instead, everything's an insult now. Everybody's so touchy. Everybody's so personal now. And we've made our kids so damn soft. It's amazing. I just wanted to throw it out there because I saw that story, and to me, it was just too funny, man. Too funny. Flipper13 says, I wanted to kick my print shop teacher's ass from 7th grade. I'm 53 now. I had an English teacher that kicked me out of class half the day of the first semester. She still passed me. That's right, bro. That's how it goes. Let's see. What do we have here? What's up, everyone? Oh, they are soft, and this new generation won't last. My generation will kick their ass, or BP, bunch of P's, he called them. Let's see. My teacher grabbed my ear, and I told my mom, and she said she was happy. It happened because I don't listen. Right, exactly. That's how it was. Please ask your draft people about Tyler Huntley, the QB out of Utah. You got it. You got it. Today, we'll ask Shawn Salisbury if he has it, but if not, we'll have Rick Neuheisel on tomorrow, and Rick will definitely have all of the quarterbacks down pat. I don't know if Shawn has watched him, so I can't promise you, but I know Rick Neuheisel will definitely know him. Okay, because I've done shows with Rick, and I know, and I've had him on my show interview-wise. He fought. He's a college football guy, man. So he'll know. Let's see. Why you calling out Bill's age? Oh.
Thanks for the defense. I appreciate. But we were in the same class, same school.
You're younger than I am.
Although you are 1 year, 2 months, and 26 days older than me, brother.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am older and feel it. Big O, my buddy Derek is here working with me today. He's a 49ers fan. He'd love to hear your thoughts on the 49ers pick at 13 and 31. Well, dude, I would imagine that if you're the Niners, you've got to be going wide receiver, right? I mean, that would only make sense for me if you're the Niners because this is a heavy wide receiver draft. And so if you're going to get a guy, I would go with wide receiver at least at 13, whether it's Justin Jefferson, if Judy falls there. I doubt CeeDee Lamb gets there. That's my favorite one out of the group, but you could still get a couple of those guys. So you will have that, okay? And then what's your other pick? What's the other pick he said? Where else are they picking? Damn it. Where are you here, NorCal? 13. Oh, 31. Well, that's right. That's right. They got the Super Bowl. I forgot about that.
Second place.
Yeah. They need I would say some maybe safety help. Something like that.
I was just going to say wide receivers probably one.
Yeah.
And then safety.
Yeah. They could get like a McKinney out of Alabama, something like that. I think that would be a move for them. That would be a smart move for them, a little help in the secondary. But wide receiver has to be the one.
Before you go.
It has to be the one.
CeeDee Lamb in front of Judy.
Yes.
And they hear about the route running and this and
the toughness.
It's okay. Just that.
I think Judy's slightly more
He
finesse.
likes to run around the sideline and go out of bounds where the
Lamb's
kid goes across the middle,
yeah,
man.
and he's got great balance, too, is what I like. 'Cause he can get hit, and he's one of those guys.
He fights for he spins off, man. You see some of those plays.
We're splitting hairs here, okay? But gun to head, you have to make me choose, right?
Right.
I got to go CeeDee Lamb.
You want a guy that's got toughness.
I love Thomas.
You're playing football.
I love Thomas from Georgia, but gun to head, I want Tristan Wirfs. You know what I mean? I like the Willis kid, too, from Alabama. Gun to head, I want Tristan Wirfs. That's all.
Any one of those top 5 tackles, you're not going to go wrong.
Right.
But this one guy,
if
I
have to pick a guy.
Little bit extra.
Right. You know, I like Gesicki, but I like Gobert from is it Gobert or whatever it is, the one from Philadelphia. I liked him a little bit more. That's all. It's not that I didn't like Gesicki. I like Gesicki, but I had Gobert a little bit. It's not Gobert because that's Rudy. I forget. Well, you know which one I'm talking about. The kid from Philadelphia.
That guy.
That guy. So and we'll see. Time will tell which one will be better down the line because one is stuck behind a Pro Bowl tight end and the other one is starting here. You know, he has every opportunity to start here. In Philly, you just don't walk in and start when there's a guy there in place that's already established. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a different challenge. So that's what I would say to you, NorCal, and your buddy that's a Niners fan. You got to get receiver at 13 because you're going to get a run on receiver, so you have to get it early. Okay?
And at 31, you're going to get a stud safety.
Yeah, you'll get some of the yeah.
What are you talking about? Maybe the second or third best? Because the Alabama kid, I think, is one, right?
Yeah, this guy is Alabama at 31 is what I have. So that he may be the first safety off the board.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Delpit from LSU. So he'll be the second safety off the board.
Okay.
Delpit's a freaking stud. By the way, the best stat of the draft is right here on this show. We're going to bring it because nobody's brought it up at all in the country. Okay? Best stat I want you to track in the draft. We need to find out because we really don't know the final number for each. Who's going to have more? Dolphin draft picks or LSU draft picks? Miami's got 14. Maybe they end up with 13 or 12 because they used a couple to move up. Maybe they end up with 17 because they moved down and later on in the rounds and picked up extra picks. I don't know. I can't predict. But I can tell you this. All right, Clyde, the running back, second round. Thaddeus Moss, about third or fourth round. Stephen Sullivan, third day guy, sixth, seventh round. Justin Jefferson, first round. Cushenberry, that we should have been talking about him yesterday in 420 because he's got Cush in his name. Anyway, Lloyd Cushenberry, second round probably. The Charles kid, the tackle, Sidig, he's probably a fourth rounder. Damian Lewis, somewhere in the fourth, fifth rounds. McGee, the guard, sixth to seventh round, maybe street free agent. Lawrence, the defensive tackle, third, fourth round. Jacob Phillips, third, fourth round. The DeVinci kid, sixth to seventh round, the inside linebacker. Queen, the outside linebacker, first, second round. Chason, first round. Fulton, first round. Delpit, first round. I'm counting 15 players drafted for LSU. 15 players.
No wonder why they won the national championship.
I was going through their, as I'm going through the draft, and I'm going, damn, dude, another LSU, and let me go look at their list. And I start looking, I go, they're going to get 15 guys drafted. So track that in the draft. Who has more draft picks, the Miami Dolphins or LSU, bro?
So once the Dolphins trade up, the possibility of LSU being the winner.
Yeah, is very good. Yeah, if they do trade up at any point, yes. Now, remember, they could trade out also and go into next year's draft with one of those picks. Get a pick this year, get another pick next year. Don't put that past Chris Greer. It could definitely happen.
Considering that fourth or fifth year, and like you've talked about, having to come up with the money, you do well to maybe even offset to 22, right? And back, like, because 21s are going in, we've already got 12, right?
11.
11?
I think
Is
it's
it 11 on the books?
I think it's 11, yes. I think it's 11. But they won't have – they had two compensatories this year. They're not really going to have any next year because they're so young.
Yeah.
You're not losing anything anymore. So that would be the one thing that –
We'll probably stay where we're at.
Yeah. You're
no
not
compensatories coming back.
The compensatories won't start again for a couple of years. Is when it'll happen, because then you'll start with your own cycle of players.
It wouldn't be a bad thing though to offset and put, if you can, 22, right?
Oh no, of course not. No, yeah, no. You set up your team.
Spread it out.
Yeah.
So you're not getting slammed in the bank and not be able to, like, lose a guy.
Yeah,
like you've talked about.
Yeah. But I thought that was a really interesting stat to kind of follow. Because we know the Dolphins are the king of this draft with the picks that they have, and LSU won the championship. And I'm looking at their draft picks. I'm like, well, wait a minute, how many do they have? And I started checking it out and what area I think they're going to get drafted. And I'm looking, I'm going, man, they could get about 15 guys drafted. 15 guys, bro.
Okay, and a lot of them in the top 3 or 4, at least, 7 or 8 of those guys, the way it sounded?
1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 potentially third round and earlier. A couple of those third rounders, Phillips, Lawrence, and Edwards, could be third to fourth rounders. So you never know.
In hindsight, when they're going to play Alabama, and we're like, until they beat them, blah, blah, blah. But looking at it like this, 10 guys in the first 3 rounds, no wonder why they beat Alabama.
Alabama, by the way, will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in the first 3 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the first, second rounds. Okay? I'm just loading up on info that I've been gathering for the draft show and all that.
SEC is the beast.
Oh, always.
Right?
Yeah,
I've question.
I've never questioned that, dude. I've never questioned. I know I'm an ACC guy, and I love the U and all that.
Clemson does a nice job right now of trying to battle there.
But UM and Florida State have let us completely down in the conference.
Well,
it's our fault.
You know what? Virginia Tech as well, man.
Yeah,
Back in the day.
Yeah, but that's not fair because it was one dude that turned that program around, and he was the program, and so now he's gone.
When Bobby Beamer Ball gone.
Yeah, so
Virginia Tech gone.
Yeah, I can't expect the same. But Florida State and Miami are supposed to be perennials, no matter who, because we've proven
We're in
that.
the state. Florida is the king of football players.
No, but plus we've proven it. Coach after coach has had success. Multiple coaches have won titles, 3 different ones. So we've proven that can be done. So, 4 different coaches.
Yeah, you don't have to have
4, right?
For us, yes.
Howard, Jimmy, Erickson, and Coker, right?
Yes.
Right? Am I right? So 4 different coaches have won. So we're supposed to, our team in Florida State has let the ACC down completely. If we were up to snuff, then we could not say better than the SEC, but we could at least challenge them.
Well, we'd have 3 against their 4 or 5.
It's Georgia, LSU, Auburn,
That's
Alabama.
what I said. They're 4 or 5. Yeah,
they're 4 or 5.
Last year, they had 4 or 5 teams in the top 10, 12, pretty much all year.
They're the best, man. They're the best. They're the best by miles. By just miles and miles and miles. It's not even close.
So everybody's just looking up at the king.
Alex Diaz says, if I was the Dolphins, I would trade the 18th and a second rounder to Jacksonville for Fournette and the 9th overall pick. I wouldn't want Fournette, Alex. I'm sorry. I disagree with you. He's very injury prone. He's had issues with those ankles. He's apparently he's never on time for meetings and lazy and misses and is late for meetings. Can you imagine Brian Flores dealing with that? I don't think so. And then he's up for a contract.
I have to stop us right here.
So you have to it doesn't. You draft now a guy, and that way you have him for 4 years, and you don't pay him. And if you get him at number 26, Alex, you have him for 5 years. But either 26 or 39 will be a running back, I believe. All right, let's do this. Max Starks, he blocked for a lot of great running backs. He did it at Florida. He did it at the NFL level. Hell of a player for the Steelers for many years. The Dolphins may be taking a tackle. Let's get the latest on the tackles with Max Starks next.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit on select models. Excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with 0 down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, welcome back. I promised you we're going to talk to Max Starks, of course, absolute stud in college and the NFL, played the position of offensive tackle at a very high level, and I've had him on in the past, always a great guest, and now in draft week, it is an honor to have Max on to talk a little football. Max, hope you're doing well, hope the family is safe in this crazy-ass time, my man.
Appreciate it, Big O. I mean, it is crazy. It's unprecedented. But, knowing the strength and resiliency of this country, I mean, we will get through this. We will overcome it, and we will come out better than it. And we will adjust to the new normal.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Overall, because, Max, you're always going to have a couple of idiots in life, in anything that we do. So we're going to have a couple of people that don't follow the rules. But I got to say, I'm super, super proud of our country overall because I think most of us have respected it. Most of us have cared for each other. That's what I'm seeing. I like that part of it. And you're right about us as a country. We are bouncing back, and those are the things that we're showing in the process.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be outliers, right? I mean, that's why you have freedom of speech, freedom of opinion. And as the old adage goes, as people have elbows and other holes, so will they have opinions. So, you can't help everybody, but for the most part, everybody's good. The majority is good.
Dude, I'm gonna steal that freaking line, bro. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. That is so good. All right, Max. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it all. The Dolphins have got like 7,000 picks in this draft.
Yeah, fire sale of 2019.
Yeah. Smart. To me, it was really. I love what they've done. I think they're building it through the draft and through youth, and I think that they're finally, because we always had GMs that wanted to buy the shiny little objects in free agency, and free agency is where you overpay every single time because that's where players want to get paid, and usually you overpay because you're making all your mistakes in the draft. Now I think these guys are doing it right, but they're at 5. First of all, before I ask you about a position you know inside and out, at 5, do you like Tua? Would you take a chance on Tua because of his injuries? Do you like Herbert? Does he not convince you? We know Burrow's out of the conversation. So at 5, what would you do? Would you even trade up for either guy to Detroit at 3? How would you handle the quarterback situation first and foremost?
Well, the one thing I think I have to say is that when you look at this team and you look at what the other intrinsic things that you need to have happen for a good quarterback to be successful in Miami. Let's face it, there hasn't been a good quarterback there since Dan Marino.
Amen.
And when you look at it, and he had double knee braces that couldn't move. So I mean, when I look at this team, I want somebody that not only is young. I need the athleticism. I need the trust that he can handle not only this team, and I think Brian Flores is a good guy for this job, but you have to also handle the how do we put this? The extracurricular life that is Miami. Do you have somebody who has a good head on his shoulders to be able to manage that and also lead men that are older than him in that environment? And I think when you look at Tua, I think Tua is probably your best complement of those guys. Because like you said, Burrow's gone. I mean, Burrow will be a no-brainer, but Burrow is going to Cincinnati or some trade that happens at the number 1 pick. And so I think when I break it down, I think Tua has the intangibles that you want. I think health is the only question. If the Dolphins do not take him at 5, then there's some health questions that go on, and I think he could fall a little bit further. And I think you can use the later capital that you got from the Texans and what you got from the Steelers. Sorry, my old team, 18 to 23. You can use that if you need to jump up again. So I think that's where I'm at. I think Tua is the best one. I think Herbert obviously has things you can't coach. Right? He has height. He has the power in his arm. And those are things that you can't coach. I question the accuracy, and I question the system from Oregon a little bit. And then I think the other guy that we're not talking about, I think you have Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love who are out there who I think are more of your 18 and 23. So if you don't like Tua at 5, I think you can go find them. I think you can find yourself a starting quarterback that's athletic, that's skilled, in the mid part. So I think whoever your top guy is, if it's not Tua, then you go for your best at the position. I think you need an offensive lineman. You go with that guy. And I think you can either get, depending on what the Giants do, you can get Wirfs, Wills, Thomas, pick your poison, right? Becton. You can pick any of those 4 and you'll be fine. and you could still get a quarterback in the first round with your later picks, or combo up those last two to jump up to the mids if you feel there's a run on QBs. But if you don't like Tua, I think I'm not sold on Herbert personally. But I think Love and Hurts are the other two that I like, just because I've watched Love for over the last 2 years. I've called his games. I've watched him. The kid is impressive, especially under Matt Wells the year before. Then, of course, transitioning to a new head coach and losing weapons.
So
he struggled a little bit.
Max, explain that one to us, because you've called his games, you played this game.
Yeah, for the Mountain West.
You know the position, you know quarterbacks. So what happened to the kid from night and day? Because I watched several of his games too this year. I watched 5 of them, and there were moments where he makes jaw-dropping plays that his athleticism is special. But then there were moments where he made just boneheaded, head-scratching throws that you're like, come on, kid, you're better than this. So what was it? I mean, is it as simple as saying no coach and all the players gone and he didn't raise his level, he didn't take care of the football? Why was he so irresponsible at times with the ball? I know it wasn't always his fault, but why was he at times irresponsible with the ball? What's your theory behind it?
I think he fell victim to the expectations from the year before of how well they were and how good they were. And I think he tried to force a lot of things that weren't there. I think he tried to make the play and expect higher expectations of his players than what they were. So I think he did make some plays where it's like, you're trying to thread the needle, but realizing, hey, my guy's not going to adjust to this. Is one of those tough things. I think he did that more often than he should have. I think he tried to press when they got behind in games and really tried to force the issue and put the stress on him. And I think that was, from the coaching standpoint, I think the coach did not coach him enough to say, hey, listen, don't do it. Don't push it more. Trust your teammates, trust the plays, trust your eyes, and don't force it. Don't try and create something that's not there. And a good coach is going to realize that and harness that in. That's one of the things I loved about my time with Bruce Arians, because Bruce was that type of guy when he looked at the court like, listen, I know what you want to do. I see what you want to do. Don't do it. And obviously Jameis was an outlier last year, but you also see that Jameis led the league in passing at the same time with interceptions. So, I mean, there's good and bad, and I think that's where Jordan, not to compare him to Jameis, but I think Jordan took a lot more on his shoulders and had that expectation on him and put a lot of stress on himself. And there was nobody there to say, pull the reins back like, hey, you don't have to win this. You have other teammates. Don't force this. Let's just play within ourselves. If the game's lost, I know you want to make the play, but let's make the smart play and not the best play.
Max, and we're talking with Max Starks, of course, former offensive tackle with the Gators and the Pittsburgh Steelers for a long, long time. You can, of course, follow him on Twitter like I and so many others do at Max Starks78. Max, you talked about in general with Tua, but personally for you, because while I love the kid as a human being, a leader, and he is deadly accurate, and I love him as a passer, I can't trust him to stay healthy because he's moving to another level. I've compared that he's been getting hit by quarter horses in college. Now he's going to get hit by Clydesdales. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking about men that are bigger, stronger, faster. They got a bunch of girlfriends, a bunch of houses, a bunch of leases that they got to pay. They are junkyard dogs, man. These are men. These are grown ass. Max, I don't think people really understand how brutal the game is that you played. I don't think enough people get to stand on the sidelines and watch how big, fast, enormous, and strong, and the collisions that really happen on the field. I don't think people really get a good feel for how freakish it must be to stay healthy in this league, my brother. So where do you stand with Tua in that sense?
Yeah, you're right. Durability is the biggest X factor, and that's why I think if you're shy or skittish at 5 that you don't trust his health, I think Tua can fall if the Dolphins don't take him, and that's where my concern is. That's why I put out, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, because let's face it, Jalen Hurts reminds me a lot of Deshaun Watson. He is just a winner, and it gets overlooked because he's not emotional. He's not crazy out there. He didn't have some ridiculous thing that swagger or whatever, but he just knows how to win. And I think that's where, and you think Tua comes in a slumping half in the national championship game and just gives you something different. And that's how Jalen loses his job when he lost 2 games before that in his entire career. So, and then he comes in and helps when Tua gets injured the following year. And then he goes to Oklahoma and keeps Oklahoma on track, and possibly, if you don't have a Joe Burrow season, might have been your 3rd Heisman from Oklahoma in 3 years. So, I think a lot can be said for that. But I think, it's the question of health with Tua. That's the only thing. Everything else, moral character, focus.
No, he's impeccable everywhere. Impeccable.
Everything else is impeccable. But it's like the great Greek warrior, right? It's Achilles.
Right.
What's his weakness? His heel. And Tua, his health is his heel. And I think that's where it comes into concern is, do I want somebody great for 12 games, or do I need somebody that's really good for 16? And that's what Brian Flores is going to have to weigh, and they're going to have to make that type of decision. But for me, I wouldn't bank on the health, personally. Right. I wouldn't want to bank on him being healthy all of a sudden when he gets to the league. Because like you said, BSF, big, strong, fast, when you get to the NFL, decimates health. And you play with the new 100 every single week as far as health and percentages. Hey, listen, this 70% is my new 100 right now because we just played the Ravens last week. That's kind of how your mentality has to be. And Tua just hasn't shown me a healthy year to say that he's going to be any different.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So you're of that theory, like I am, that if you're an injury-prone player in college, you'll be an injury-prone player in the pros. Was that your experience with other guys that you saw that had that kind of track record?
Yeah. Okay. And even for me, I was a healthy player in college. I had 1 ankle sprain in college. And then you get to the NFL, those become a lot more exacerbated. I mean, I had, 4 knee surgeries and a neck surgery in my 10-year career. So, I mean, I think that's where it makes it really tough to stay healthy. And he's at quarterback where they want to hit you. Now, granted, I watched a guy by the name of Kyler Murray out here in Arizona last year who I thought was going to get destroyed.
Me too.
He knew how to fall. He knew how to take a hit. He knew how to avoid the hit, how to peel off some of that steam. But I don't think Tua has that skill set like Kyler, because Kyler played baseball. So you learn how to slide. You learn how to move, how to manipulate your body a little bit more. And I don't think Tua has that. So I think that's where it's tough. I'm not going to put him in the RG3 category where he was like a sprinter, so he didn't know how to fall, didn't even know how to slide. But I think Tua is just a guy that plays a very physical brand of football, and it's going to hurt him.
Okay. All right. So, Max, I've been saying for a while, stay away from quarterback at 5. I'd rather have a big nasty. This is a good draft early on for tackles. I love a couple of the tackles that are coming in. I've been a Tristan Wirfs guy at number 5. So give us Max Stark's top 3 guys that if Miami is going to go tackle at 5 and all of them are available, let's say Detroit and what's it called? Who's at 4 now?
Giants.
The New York Giants.
Right. So let's say those 2 teams did not take offensive linemen. They're all on the board. Where does Max Starks go? Who is his number 1 tackle on the board?
My number 1 tackle on the board, here's the thing. So this year's tackle class, it's pick what your favorite thing is. And that's kind of what you have a guy for everything that you can like. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to Vegas. It's like, what is your favorite game to gamble on? You can find it. And I feel like with the offensive tackles, it's the same thing. What's your favorite thing to gamble on? And you can get it in this year's draft. The talent and the separation is literally by preference. I think Wirfs is a very, very strong right tackle. I think he has the footwork. I think he has the explosiveness to be a great right tackle. Do I think he transfers well to the left? Yet to be seen. I don't trust it right now. Can he grow into it? Eventually, yes. but I think he's a very strong right tackle. The history with Iowa offensive linemen, they're always good, but they're not great at left tackle. Because I remember a guy when I came out by the name of Robert Gallery that lasted all of 3 series at left tackle in his entire career.
Yeah.
And they thought he was the next coming of Tony Baselli. So I don't trust him at left tackle, but I love him at right tackle and possibly a guy who could swing in and play guard if you needed him to, if you had somebody that you like more at tackle. Jedrick Wills, I think, is a bona fide right tackle for sure. I think he's very strong. I think Andrew Thomas might be your best bet at left tackle. I think Mekhi Becton might be a little bit too big for this era of NFL football left tackle. Because weight is going to be his issue. The number on the scale is going to dictate him. Back when I played, the number on the scale was just simply like a speed limit sign. It was a suggestion. It wasn't necessarily what you had to be. But now in today's where you're on the Autobahn, you need somebody who can stay at Ferrari speeds all day. And that's where offensive linemen have really not evolved as much. But I think Andrew Thomas is probably your best left tackle bet, and I think that's where you need to start first, to that left tackle. So I would say Andrew Thomas will be my pick at number 5.
Okay.
And I just like to say, it would be very inane if the Giants do not take an offensive lineman. They need to protect Daniel Jones since you're all in on him, and your offensive line is not that great. And let's face it, Nate Solder is not worth the dollars right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. Now, if Miami goes quarterback at number 5, Max, those guys you're talking about will probably not be available at 18. So if they have 18 and 26, who's a tackle that might slip down there that you like, whether it's Jackson or any of the other cats that might be in that area? Is there another big man that you like in that area?
Yeah, I think Jackson out of USC is probably a good choice. Also, Isaiah Wilson, even though he's a little inconsistent for my like in my case, I think both of those guys will be available at 18 and possibly 23. And then, I mean, after that, it's a crapshoot.
What do you know about the Cleveland kid from Boise State, Ezra Cleveland? What do you know about him?
Cleveland, I like Cleveland. I think he's very athletic, but when I look at Cleveland, I think he has to be in a zone scheme versus a man scheme, and so that's where I think he's better fitted for your outside zone, on the angle, not a gap scheme type of guy. So I think that's where his I think deficiency is right now. But I like Ezra Cleveland. I think he has a skill set, but I think he fits better into other systems than Miami.
So how was your draft day? Give us the experience, the preparation, waiting for that phone call. How was that day for you, man? Was that a day you were just drinking a lot of kaopectate? What was it, bro? Upset stomach, nervous? What was it?
It was stressful. It was stressful, especially because, my projection was anywhere in day one. So it's like it could have been first round if there's a run on tackles, or you could be as late as the third round. And obviously I was as late as the third round when it's all said and done. But, yeah, it was a stressful day because I remember I didn't want to be around my mom and my aunts. And so I was like, listen, I love you guys. Y'all stay at the house. I'm going to go over to my best friend from high school's house, and we're going to hang out over there. So it was myself, my best friend Josh Katzer, and then both my brothers, my older and my younger brother, Nick and Justin. And it was just us 4 hanging out at the house. We were playing pool because obviously every bachelor at that age has a pool table in their dining room because why do I need an 8-person play setting? It's just me in here. So playing pool, hanging out around the house, watching the TV. And then I remember there was a moment when Philly jumped up to the 17th pick, and I was like, oh, my God, Philly's been all over me. They've had I had private workouts. I've had team visits. I've had phone calls. They've been all over me this draft. I was like, oh, man, I might be going to 17. And then they picked another offensive lineman, Shawn Andrews from Arkansas. And my heart just sank. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, that was the team I was thinking. I was thinking I was going to be in the state of Pennsylvania, and I thought it was going to be Eastern PA. And then after that, obviously, you get through the second round. There was another 2 or 3 linemen taken. I remember Chris Snee was taken to the Giants. Jake Grove was taken to the Raiders, and then Jacob Rogers was taken to the Dallas Cowboys in the second round. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't know who has interest in me. And my agent is calling me. I don't want to pick up the phone from him. And then I remember in the third round at the end of the night, because that's when all three rounds were in the same day on Friday. And I just remember, I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm leaving. We're going up to the local sports bar. We're going to hang out. I'm just going to drink my sorrows, and we'll just see what happens tomorrow. And as we're shutting the house down, turning the lights off, and walking out the door, I just turned the TV off. A 412 number hits me. And I'm like, man, what the hell? 412? What number is this? My best friend Josh was born in Pittsburgh. He's like, Max, that's Pittsburgh. Pick that phone up right now. Pick it up. Pick it up. I was like, all right, whatever. I was like, I didn't even talk to Pittsburgh.
Typical.
And I pick it up, and they go, "Hold, Coach Coward's making a decision." I'm like, what? Why'd you call me then? Why'd you call me if you're making a decision? I'm like, what is this? I found the phone, and Coach Coward, and I was like, hey. He's like, Starks, how do you feel about playing in the snow? I know you're from Florida. I know you've never played in snow. How do you feel about it? I said, is there a ball down there, Coach? I said, I'll play. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the condition. I was like, I play football. He's like, well, good. You don't have a choice anyways. You're coming to Pittsburgh. Congratulations. Nice. And I turned on the TV, and it showed me being drafted by Pittsburgh. And it was crazy because I didn't meet with Pittsburgh. I didn't talk with Pittsburgh. Coach Coward showed up at my pro day. He literally, I got on the scale and weighed in. I turned around to the crowd in the weight room. All I see is his chin and him nodding up and down, and then he disappeared. It was like seeing a unicorn after a rainbow, and then you're just like, where did it go? And that was all I saw of Pittsburgh, and they drafted me. So it was pretty crazy and pretty surreal to go through that day and end up, obviously, in Pittsburgh when I had no clue. And I'd been going to Pittsburgh since I was a kid, so I was familiar with the city, but it was just crazy how it happens in the draft. Like somebody you don't think you would have come in contact with ends up picking you.
Yeah, and think about it. In today's world, if you get drafted by Bill Cowher, you need all kinds of masks with the way he spits while he's screaming at you. So,
yeah.
I mean, Bill Cowher would be infecting
he's not
the world.
friendly.
Yeah, he's not coronavirus friendly, Bill Cowher. No. Now,
Yeah.
one more thing before I let you go, Max. You know how we are as guys. We're buddies. We love each other, all that. We're trying to comfort each other. But the buds sometimes just say something just stupid and awkward or whatever to try to make you feel better, but they didn't notice that they was kind of awkward at the moment. Was something awkward said by one of your brothers or your friends while you're waiting to get picked and they're trying to make you feel better? I'm just wondering if that scene happened until the pick.
Oh, no question. Yeah, my older brother. So I love my older brother Nick, and he's a very tough dude, but he's also like very sensitive at the same time. Like the guy was an ultimate fighter. He fought in the UFC back when there was no weight classes. So very tough dude. I mean, went 3 rounds with Dan Severn in the octagon. So I don't question my brother's toughness or his ability to go put his face in the fan. But he also has like these very poetic, silent, sensitive things. So he's like, Max, God has a plan for all of us. And you just have to think that none of these other teams were worthy of your greatness. And so you just need to take comfort in wherever you're going to go, it's the right place that God has picked for you. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, no, not at this point. I'm like, no, not at all. What are you talking about? I'm like, I know what teams I interviewed with. I know what teams had interest in me, and none of them liked me right now. So it's tough to say. It's like going to the prom, and you had 5 girls ask you to the prom. You're like, nah, I'm gonna go solo just to play this thing out, and then all 5 of them just leave with other people, and you're just stuck there with the limo by yourself. So it's like, no. This is not that type of moment, Nick.
You got to look at, bro. I am losing money with every pick that goes by, brother. Come on, my bank account's getting
hundreds
smaller.
of thousands and millions of dollars are going by just because of this. And here's the thing: in the end, he was right, but in the moment, he was completely wrong in my mind.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's that whole thing when you're going through hell and they say, well, hey, listen, things happen for a reason. Another door will open. At that moment, you're like, dude, I don't want to hear this, okay? I'm going through hell right now. You know what I mean? Months later, a year later, that door finally opens, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. I know. But at that moment, you definitely don't want to hear that. That's crazy. That's awesome. All right, Max.
Exactly.
You are a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time and enlightening us and dropping some knowledge. Follow Max, by the way, on Twitter at MaxStarks78. Max, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the draft this weekend. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, though. Take care.
You got it, baby. You be good. There you go. The great Max Starks, man. Excellent stuff.
That was
always.
Awesome, man.
He's awesome. He's just awesome. He is just awesome. All right, we're going to take a break. Shawn Salisbury joins us. We'll talk a little more draft, hardcore, all the way to the bone, right here on The Big O Show.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit on select models. Excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with zero down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show.
All right, we're back.
This is the Big O Show.
One of my favorite interviews, one of my favorite people in this business. He's been a friend of mine for a long, long time, and a guy that I can always count on, always has my back, and that's Shawn Salisbury, the former NFL quarterback. Of course, he does an excellent job in Houston. Sports Talk 790 from 6 to 10 in the morning. He is a must-follow on Twitter at Shawn Unfiltered. He is a maniac on social media. He is all over the place. He's like savoir-faire. He's everywhere. Shawn, good morning, my man, because it's still morning for you. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, bud. Thanks for having me on. I hope you're well, and all the people down in South Florida doing okay.
We're doing great, man. We're just trying to survive overall, and we're going to get through this thing and be better because of it. There's no doubt about that. So,
Agreed.
No doubt,
Agreed.
man. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, you played the position of quarterback. You know how quarterback-starved we are. We haven't had one since number 13 down here. So the question is, Shawn, if you are Chris Greer and you're going to you need a quarterback, is number 5 worthy of Tua because of the health issues? Are you going to take a gamble on a guy? Because I've been telling people, he's been getting hit by quarter horses. He's now going to start getting hit by Clydesdales in the NFL. They're bigger, stronger, faster. They hit harder in this league. Can he stay healthy? And then the other question is, Herbert, do you trust him as a leader, as a guy that can overcome that kind of stuff, the maturity issues that people have talked about? So it's two different things that you worry about. With Tua, it's not really about football. It's more about health. So where does Miami go at 5 on the quarterback side? Are you comfortable taking either guy or no guy?
I would take Tua before I'd take Herbert. I believe in my heart, and listen, I'm a Pac-12 guy, and I've watched both of these guys' careers and rewatched throw after throw after throw. And I root for their success. And, hey, listen, the great thing about sitting in a room, and they're not going to be able to sit in a room, but when you've been talking to people and you're evaluating it, this is the toughest. We're having, for South Florida and the Miami Dolphins, since number 13, we've had this conversation way too often to find a quarterback that is your franchise guy. Now, here's the reason why. I actually am looking at this, and when we say he's beat up, the ankles, but for me, it's not the Tua where he's shredded, where his hamstrings always hurt, or he's one of those guys that whines all the time. He's had some unfortunate ankle stuff, and the hip, well, the medical expert says he's fit and ready to go. Some teams are failing him. So is there a risk? Yeah, there's a risk every time you take a quarterback, okay? And just because a guy's 6'6", 240 doesn't exactly mean that he's going to be healthy in the NFL too. So I actually believe there's more ifs next to Herbert's inconsistencies than there is next to Tua's health. I do. And yes, in 4 years, could we be having a conversation no matter who they draft, say, they need another quarterback? Yeah. And you tee it up and do it again. I bring you the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I can go on and on with teams that have to keep doing this. Everybody doesn't get Andrew Luck or Russ Wilson or Deshaun Watson or Pat Mahomes. There's more that don't than do. So trying to find the guy, yes, it's I like Tua better because I think he's a better football player. I just do. And so I say, okay, if they're both right and they've reached their potential, I think you're getting a guy, and I think Herbert can be a starter. I don't think he's ever going to be Andrew Luck type of player, but I think he's got all he's spectacular one moment and then misses a 12-yard curl to a wide open receiver the next. And I didn't see him get better from the year he could have come out until last year. Now, does that mean he can't with proper coaching and the rest of it? No, I think he can be a good player. But there's a difference between a guy and that guy. I try to have somebody tell me when they watch tape, and nobody's been able to yet. When you watch tape, tell me how. I had another guy on an expert on this morning, and I'd like to consider myself somebody who knows the position. Tell me on why one guy's a better football player. There's risk in both. Why is the other guy better? Nobody can tell me why Herbert's better than Tua. So to me, if you're going to do it now, some say that they're not even going to draft one with that pick. Okay. Then maybe you think Jordan Love in 3 years is going to be your superstar in a year or 2 years, and he's got the higher ceiling. I got Jordan Love ahead of Herbert 5 years from now, but Herbert's played more football at a higher level. But when I look at Herbert, nothing just jumps out other than the physical, the measurables. That just doesn't jump out at me that I'm going to trust that he's going to go 30 or 35. But he can beat you with his feet if he's coached right. Tua, there's nothing on the football field. Go look at it. So there's nothing as a football player that he hasn't done. He's a better football player than Herbert is, period. And I think the Dolphins are going to draft Herbert. I think Tua is a better football player. I think I got more upside with him. I just do.
So we get past those two guys. You touched a little bit on Love, and so Miami's also at 18, and they could use that pick to maybe use it for Love or move up to get Love with that pick. Where are you with Jordan Love? Because, man, I watched 5 games of him this year, Shawn, and he is
very good.
Yeah, but there are moments where he makes throws, dude, that 75% of the NFL cannot make those throws.
There's no doubt. And that's what you got to ask yourself.
But you know,
and that's why when you're.
But dude, you forgot more about this position than we'll ever know. He was fantastic the year before. So you played this position. He lost his coach. He lost a lot of players to graduation. Okay, so that obviously that's going to hurt you. What did he not do on the quarterback side to be more responsible? Because while he wows you with some, he then leaves you scratching your head going, come on, kid, why'd you make that throw? You know that guy wasn't open. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, here's the deal. And that's the reason why there's ifs around all these guys. And so if you're telling me, if you're saying, could I get him at 18? If you think that Love has a high ceiling and a high floor. If you think that, man, the difference between Herbert and Love, I'm just talking out loud.
Right.
Because I think they all can be really good if they reach their potential, and we know how that goes. Potential, that P-word gets coaches fired if they don't reach potential.
Right.
So if you're telling me, okay, let's say Love was an 18, or you package your other two, the 18 and the other pick, and moved up to get him. I actually think 4 quarterbacks are going in the first 15 picks. That's just me. I think somebody is going to fall in love with Love, no pun intended, just like you said. Because, and here's what you got to ask yourself about him. Is he the guy that has to have the right coach, right system, everything going good to be a great player? Or is he the guy that when crap hits the fan, he can overcome it? We saw him be a great player with Matt Wells, who left to go to Texas Tech. And we saw him last year. He didn't have as many good players, lost a lot to graduation, and then forced balls. The thing that bothered me most about him was, does he look the part? And you watch him throw the ball and you say, the truth is, if they all hit, the highest ceiling on just raw ability is him of the 4. He's phenomenal. Burrow's the best because he checks every box other than he's got to do it a second year in a row. But he's got moxie, but then he's not going to be available. He's got swagger, accuracy. He played well under pressure, all those things. But Love, so that's the if you're asking yourself.
Right.
All right, if we took Herbert at 5, if we traded up, or if we got Herbert at 5, or if we waited till 18 and said, okay, what's the difference of the upside for both? Where are we going to be? Herbert's more ready to play now, but Love, I think, that's why I got him ahead of him. So you've got to ask yourself, which one is Jordan Love? Is he Matt Wells, get him around great players, and Brian Flores build something around him good? Or he's coming to a team that's not very good right now, but they got better. There's a lot of draft picks. They're trying to get better, and they're building something with Flores and Greer. Can you be patient enough with Fitz, and can you do it to say we're going to build a good team around him, and then he's going to be great? He has got to learn it's okay to throw the ball away or take the check down, which he did not do well last year. He forced balls to places, which I like guts, but there comes a point in time, there's a difference between playing scared and playing stupid. Can't play scared, but you can't play stupid. I love him, and I think you're right. I'm not even sure he'll be there at 18. Now, he may fall to the 20s, and Bill Belichick may get him. But for my money, if you ain't taking 2 at 5, I wouldn't take Herbert at 5.
Yeah.
Even though I like him, and I may be wrong. And if I am, I'll stand up for you and say, listen, I'm glad the kid was a great player. I have no problem admitting it. I've missed a few times. Not many, but I've missed a few when it comes to that position. I think Love's a good player, and that's a risk you have to ask yourself. Who is Love? 2 years ago or last year? And what are we going to get out of it?
You know, and Shawn, let's play the shell game here, okay? Let's have a little fun with this, okay? Let's switch the shell game. Let's switch Joe Burrow and Jordan Love. Jordan Love loses his players and his coach. His season goes to crap. And I know at Utah State you weren't going to ever win a national championship or have that kind of title, you know, or that opportunity. But then you're Joe Burrow. You're not impressive at Ohio State. You're not impressive at LSU. In comes Joe Brady, figures you out, figures the offense, puts you in a perfect position. You go out and succeed. And by the way, I'm having some fun on the stat of the draft is who's going to have more picks, the Dolphins or LSU? Because I counted LSU. It might be 15 draft picks. Dolphins have 14. So look what Burrow's playing with. Imagine if we played the shell game and we reversed the seasons. Love has 18 season this year. He had the 19 season 2 years ago. And let's go with Joe Burrow, where he had the championship season 2 years ago, but then he looks like he looked at LSU when he got there or at Ohio State. What are we doing now? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the one if I said about Burrow. Is he a one? People are asking. Now, Cincinnati, he's hometown kid. You got no choice. He put up numbers. And you also got to see the forest through the trees, which I tried to look through and I have to talk to Ed Orgeron about this. I was actually on campus, remember, just before Joe Burrow got there. What I do love about it is Burrow overcame getting beat out, adversity, kicked in the mouth, had but didn't have a great season 2 years ago, came back, got Joe Brady, who they just fit along with Steve Huntsman, the threesome came together, and then they were spectacular. And yes, you're asking that question. You're thinking, well, man, wouldn't it have been great for Joe Burrow if Joe Brady would have taken the Cincinnati job instead of the Carolina job? Of course. And it's worth it because it's a short sample size. But, boy, was the sample size enormous. And then you look and say, okay, what if Love was on LSU's team? And what if Burrow was on Utah State's team? We can go there. Would Love have been able to be as accurate? Now, he's got a more spectacular, powerful arm, but is he – see, I think Joe Burrow's got as good a pocket presence as I've seen on a quarterback in a decade and a half. But that's exactly right. So that's why none of these guys, at least going in, make you feel – even though Joe Burrow's going to be the first pick, and I love him, you're saying, well, is he Elway or Luck when they came out? And the answer right now, statistically, you'd say, of course. But when you say, can he carry a team on his back when they're not good or when he doesn't have the perfect play call? But if you're Cincinnati and you're Zach Taylor, you say, well, let me adjust to some of that. Let me do some of the stuff like Andy Reid did with Mahomes, who was supposed to be a system quarterback coming from Texas Tech. What did Andy do? He took some of Texas Tech, some of West Coast, what he does, and he told us, let's fit in what this guy does. Well, not just good coaches adjust to their players. So if you're Zach Taylor, you're saying, well, I want to go study what Joe Burrow did at LSU. I want to go talk to Joe Brady about some of the RPOs and stuff he put in so we can get Burrow, since we're mortgaging our franchise on him, comfortable. Good coaches adjust to their talent. And so, yes, it is. The Michelle game is a trip because all four of these guys got an if by the name. They do. If Joe's not a one-year guy. If Jordan Love is the 2 years ago guy. If Herbert ever matures and makes the simple play instead of just the spectacular one. And then if Tua can stay healthy. Well, there you have it. And if Tua was healthy, and I'm not sure I said it when I was talking about him, we wouldn't be talking about Tua and Herbert. We'd be talking about Tua and Burrow. Right. So the question is it worth the risk of getting to a place where very few can go, talent-wise, Tua, or is it a safer pick because of the injury with Herbert? And now you say, well, either one of them worth the fifth pick. That's why I can't wait for this draft. I can't wait. And the Dolphins need an offensive tackle. The Dolphins could probably get a running back. They're going to load up. And Brian Greer and Flores are doing a good job. I'm anxious to see what they do with all these picks and what they do with the quarterback situation. It seems like everybody switched now and got not Burrow, but Herbert in and up in Miami. I talked to another expert today that said he believes that the Chargers are going to get Tua and that the Miami Dolphins are actually going to take Herbert. That's been the talk. So is it a smokescreen or not? We'll see.
All right, so before I leave this position, of course, we're talking with Shawn Salisbury. You can follow him on Twitter at Shawn Unfiltered. You know this position. You and I have been talking draft now for years, and so we like to have a little fun here always. And we know that it's a lot of miss here. It's really hard to hit on this position specifically. But you and I always like to have fun about that next-tier quarterback, the back-end guys, the project guys. And going to the East-West Shrine, I was really impressed with Kevin Davidson from Princeton. The kid Jake Luton from Oregon State's got me kind of interested. Nate Stanley from Iowa. For me, these are interesting projects. Even Jacob Easton from Washington. I kind of like taking a gamble on any of those four guys because I think that they have NFL qualities. Whether you can make them a quarterback or not, who the hell knows? But, man, we've seen the Dak Prescotts, the Russell Wilsons, the Joe Montanas, the Tom Bradys. So we know that quarterbacks come late. Who's a guy that kind of intrigues you, Shawn? Because I know you got to have your eye on a guy out there that you like.
I do, more than one. And, when you mentioned Iowa, I was Stanley. I'm thinking, I was talking about this about 3 or 4 days ago with my producer. I said, Iowa always has that guy that comes out from Iowa that we don't talk about that stays in the league 10 years, right? It's just they always seem to have that guy at quarterback, honestly. I'll tell you there's a couple of them. If I were to walk out on the field and just say, hey, shorts and a T-shirt, we mentioned Jordan Love, just said, hey, you guys go out there. We don't know any names. I said, Big O, sit with me. I want you to watch these guys. Shorts and a T-shirt and just say, throw the ball around a lot. Oh, Eason's going to blow your mind now.
Yes.
The problem is the reason why he got banged up, he lost the job to Fromm, who's far less physically gifted, but never put his team in a bind. But again, like her, there's so much upside there. You're like, oh my gosh, second round, third round. If I get him and he's coached right and taught right, could he be special? The answer to that is yes. Remember, when he came out of Washington and went to Georgia, he was the number one drop-back quarterback in the country. Now, that doesn't mean much, obviously. We've seen that happen before, but there's nothing he can't do with the football in his hand. He can spin it now. I can promise you that.
Big time.
The question is, can you drop it in the ocean when you stand on the beach? So I'm going to tell you one that intrigues me. You didn't mention that I love because he's been kicked in the teeth. He's been questioned. The league is starting to go the way of we need versatility and can you beat me in different ways. He's been well coached. He put up numbers after we didn't know if he could when he left. He's had a starting job. He's got experience. He lost starting job. And I still to this day believe he's the most poised football player in America in college. I didn't say best. Since he's been a freshman, we've never had a more poised player. I'm going to tell you that if you're a team with a veteran, that you got 2 redshirt years in front of you, that Jalen Hurts is going to be an NFL player.
Okay.
I got laughed at. Now, I'm not comparing him to Kyler Murray at all. I got laughed at, but people questioned me when I went back and watched Kyler Murray last year, and I said, get rid of Josh Rosen now. You want to be my favorite. And go draft Kyler Murray first. Because at first I thought he was a 3rd or 4th round pick, and I went back and watched, questioned myself, and then I re-looked and I said, you got to take him first. He's better right now in college than Josh Rosen is as the starting quarterback in Arizona. Well, it all turned out, and he's going to be a stud. Now he's not that guy, but I can tell you he's been taught well. He proved he can throw it. He needs some work mechanics wise, but I'm telling you, he wins. He's poised. Somebody's going to draft him 3rd round, maybe sneak into the 2nd round. He's not a slot receiver. He is a winner, and he's a quarterback that will take over a locker room. And that 18th ranked quarterback in the league who's 2-3 to start and gets a little banged up in year 2 or 3 of Jalen Hurts' career, he's going to get it. The guy's going to leave his glove out on the mound, and Hurts is going to go take the job, and he's never going to get it back. So he intrigues me. But if you're just talking about raw ability, who doesn't like the way smart you're going to get? The kid, the Stanley, that's Iowa. They're solid. But when you just talk about who's got raw ability, it's the kid of Washington who lost out to Fromm, ironically, and now those two are battling it out for who's going to be the 4th or 5th or the 5th or 6th quarterback taken. But Hurts, leadership and win, and you can teach him what he doesn't have right now. I can fix the things he does have. You can't teach, brother. I'm just telling you. But Eason, when it just comes to spinning it, somebody's going to draft him, and then they're going to. But a couple of those guys need redshirt years before they play, and the ones I just mentioned do.
Yeah. I mean, hell, with Eason, we don't even have enough tape on you in college already as it is. You know what I mean? It's like,
and real quick, and let me say one thing about that, and you're right. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is that I would take a quarterback, and I think I've discussed this with you. Now, if they take one in the 1st round, obviously, but you know what? I would take a quarterback. For instance, let's say they draft 2 this year. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, you know what I do in the 5th round next year, 6th round? I draft a quarterback. We do it at every other position. I would do it. Bill Belichick does. Get assets. Every single year, in some round, not the 1st round, in some round, I would draft a quarterback. 6th round, 5th round, 7th round, 3rd round, 2nd round, 1st. Hell, think what Belichick. He's got Brady, and he's taking Mallett, got an asset for him. Taking Brissett high, got assets for him.
Castle.
Taking Garoppolo, got assets for him. He just keeps doing it. And you know what? I do the same thing there. So if I'm Miami and I draft Tua or Herbert this year, next year somebody in the 5th round comes up, I'm taking him. Hell, if you got a 7th round pick this year and you think Stanley's sitting there, draft him too. Why not? You can draft nobody says you can't draft 2 with your 14 picks. So go for it. But I'm a big believer in building my team with the best players. And if one of those guys are the best players, you take them. There's a lot of potential outside the first 4 quarterbacks. The question is, will they reach it and be taught well?
2 more questions before I let you go. If they don't take the quarterback at number 5, who's the player realistically you love there? What tackle, defensive lineman? I doubt Okuda's going to be there. Plus, they don't need him after signing Jones. So who's the guy that you would take at 5 if they don't take a quarterback?
Well, there's no running back worthy of that pick.
Nope.
There's some wide receivers that are in this draft that are really, really good. And everybody, you know what? If you got 2, give me a 3rd one. If you got 3, give me a 4th one. So I don't, you could, with the depth that you can get one later. Obviously, there's this. If you were taking it 5, you get a Wirfs and a Wills type of guy up there at the top, who's an offensive lineman type of player. Austin Jackson's rising. He's not worth the 5 picks from SC, but there's some good tackles. And I'm going to tell you, man, if you for them, quarterback, offensive lineman, and we say maybe possibly late in the 1st round, maybe a running back if you think you got a home run hitter there that you can draft, Swift or one of those guys. But I'm going to tell you, if you're saying at 5, and they'll get it. If they're not drafting a quarterback, they'll either trade down. Let's say Jacksonville loved Tua and wanted to move up for whatever reason to the 5th or whoever to get him at the 5th slot. And you went to 9 and got an extra pick, and you could take possibly one of those great offensive tackles there. The 3 Thomas, there's a 3 or 4 really good ones. But you know what? For my honestly, I know it's going to sound crazy, and you'll get the tackle there. But I'll tell you somebody who I would love if they had a tackle that they had there that they didn't have to draft. I love Isaiah Simmons. I think he's going to be a monster. You can move him around. He just seems like a Florida's Belichick guy. I can line you at strong safety. I can line you outside linebacker. I can put your hand in the dirt. I can stand it. So if I have the luxury of versatility, he's one of those guys, even if you don't need him, you draft him because he's going to be a blast to watch. And I think he's a monster talent. But at that point, if it's not for the quarterback, and if you could trade down a couple picks, which even though they got a million of them, and still get a tackle, but if you love a tackle and don't love the quarterback, and let's say they don't take the quarterback, then draft the guy you love. Some people may not be sexy, but you know what? Guess what? Teams are built by that. Look what Indianapolis has done by getting the guard and Quentin Nelson. He's going to be there for a decade, for 12 years, and be in a Pro Bowl 10 or 11 of them. That's what it's going to be. So if you love that guy there at 5, then take him if you don't trust the quarterback. But I think they'll, a tackle will be there whenever it is, whether it's fifth, they trade down, or whatever they do, and he'll be a stud. And even though it may not be sexy to some, it's going to be a guy that you can pencil in and play right now because we got 3 or 4 good ones in this draft.
All right. Now, final question. Of course, we're talking with Shawn Salisbury. You can follow him on Twitter at Shawn Unfiltered. Catch him, Sports Talk 790 in Houston, 6 to 10 every single morning. He is rocking that city of Houston. All right, so, Shawn, the University of Miami got a transfer from Houston. His name is D'Eriq King. So we're going to go back to the quarterback position. So tell us how excited UM fans should be, because it looks like this kid is a player. So you tell us, you saw him in your backyard. What are University of Miami football fans getting in D'Eriq King?
Yeah, I saw him a lot. And at first about this, I had a problem with him. I thought it was Bush League to quit on your team 4 games in because the season wasn't going the way you wanted. I hated it. I ripped him and Dana, who I love. I ripped them all to shreds. So while I'm always for the kid, I thought, what teammate does this to his teammates that are seniors that need him because they're struggling? He's not playing well. I had a major issue with it. I thought, this is a punk-ass move. And then you look deeper into it, and you realize that it really was, because everybody loved the kid here. First of all, what you're getting is a multi-dimensional quarterback who can run, who can throw. He is explosive. He can beat you with his feet. If his arm's not going well that day, he can beat you with his arm. If he puts up numbers, people are going to be talking about. He is a player. There's no question. And everybody, by all accounts, loved him here. And I loved him, too. And then when that came out, I thought, man, this is weak. Who does this? And then you start to think, well, college football and the way things are going and how selfish universities are and the rest, you start to think, well, maybe it's not the kid. Maybe he's doing the best, and I understand why he's doing the best. I just had a problem as a teammate thinking the right tackle or the defensive end. Man, dude, I'm a senior. Why you can't be bailing on me now, can you? Why didn't you do it before the season started? And then you start to go in to talk, and I think it was Rhett Lashley who said that, that the coach talked him into it. Then you start to back off. That's why we always got to step back and say, wait a minute, let me take this with a grain of salt. Who did this? Was Dana trying to save him since he knew they weren't very good? They got more veterans the next year and give him a chance. I look into it. I'm bothered more by Dana, and I love Dana. Known Dana forever. But I was more bothered by that you would do that to your upperclassmen. I thought it was weak. So I don't have a problem with the kid. I did. And then I thought, you know what? If it was Dana that forced this on him, I said, listen, here's what we'd like you to do. And his family said, okay, all right, give me another chance. And then the kid who said he was going to come back said, you know what? The best place for me is not here anymore. It's to go somewhere else. And then Miami said, okay, good for him. When he decided he wasn't going to play last year, and everybody said, oh, he's coming back to Houston, I said, there's no damn way in hell he's going back to play for the Cougars. He's out. Everybody in Houston, Cougar land wanted, oh, no, he's coming back to be a better kid. I said, he will not be playing quarterback for you next year, meaning Houston. Well, he didn't. So I no longer, I don't have a problem with it, because initially it made it sound like locally that he just went in and said, listen, my family and I'm going to bail on the team. I'll see you next year. And that wasn't the truth. So I root for him. I think people miss him here because they need him. You guys got a good one. You guys got a guy that can help you win, that's got veteran. They'll have an offense that's similar. He'll know how to run, and that he'll hit the ground running. You got a guy that can beat you in more ways than one. Defenses are going to hate playing against him, and he's a good kid. And now that we know the story for the most part, that it wasn't just him, I don't blame him for leaving, and I would have loved him to stay here and play it out. But you know what? You guys got a good one, and one that I think you can count on, who's a veteran that gives you playmaking skills. So things change when you get the whole story. And if Dana told him to walk away from last year, and then now you open up a can of worms for him to go out and see what else is out there, Miami is probably a really good situation for him. And quite frankly, they're a better football team than Houston, and I don't blame him for going.
Is he a quarterback that depends on the athleticism, or is he a guy that can pocket pass and then use the athleticism to his advantage? What kind of a QB
I think it's the combination. If you're saying is he gonna be the guy who sits there and every single day beats you from the pocket, regardless if he has no movement? No. But is he a guy that things? Here's what happens when you give somebody too much power, and he's not, and it's hard to be great at one of them. And when you're not real good at either, coaching or general manager, you're in for trouble. This is put it this way: if you put AJ Hinch after all that's happened with the Astros and Bill O'Brien, and said which one would you choose, and Jeff Luhnow, the GM, they'd say which one would you run out of town? Now think about it: they won the division. We're up 24-0 over the Chiefs in the playoff game. They would run out Bill O'Brien. It would be 99% of the people would run out Bill O'Brien before they'd run out either one of the baseball general manager or former manager and former GM here. He's not a very well-liked guy, especially with the Hopkins situation and now trading away a second-round pick for Cooks. It's not happy times here when it comes to football. Without Watson, this town would be going nuts.
Well,
trust me.
Let me tell you something. And Watson now practicing in a Dan Marino shirt. And now we got, silly Dolphin fans thinking that they're going to trade for him. Dude,
no,
the owner will
silly.
fire O'Brien before he trades Watson, right? I mean,
well, I got news for you, though. Listen, though, I'm telling you now, they go, Belichick's got all that power. There's not anybody else in this league. Now, power in the league, yes. And I'm telling you, Pete Carroll and Andy Reid, when you talk about power within their organization that got the owner afraid of the coach and the general manager, Bill O'Brien has a ton of power. If they go 8-8 next year, he's not getting fired. If they go 10-6 and make the playoffs, he'll get a pay raise. I'm just telling you, He's got carte blanche around here that the owner gives him. He can do whatever he wants. So the power within the organization. But if he went in there and if the owner didn't say you're not trading Deshaun Watson, which Bill would be nuts to do. If he tried to do that, the owner wouldn't have to do anything. The building wouldn't be standing on Kirby anymore. They'd beat it down. Trust me, that's not going to happen.
Follow him on Twitter at Shawn Unfiltered. He's the best. He is Shawn Salisbury. Catch him at Sports Talk 790, 6 to 10 in the morning there in Houston. Shawn, you're the best, my brother. Enjoy the draft. As always, much love and stay safe.
Same to you, brother. Always good to be on with you. You be safe, too. I love you guys, and you guys have a good draft. And please be careful, and we'll do this again. Thank you.
You got it, baby. You be good. There you go. The great Shawn Salisbury, man. Always a great interview. All right.
You know what I have to ask?
Yes. I mean, the last hour.
What? No.
Last hour.
I was going to say,
it's like, forget it.
Alex Marvez, he's strong. He's great. But, man, he's got a pretty tough group to follow, man. I mean, wow.
The Marvelous One and Cam Wolf have a lot to live up to now with these two guys back to back.
I want to know what kind of photos Bill O'Brien has on the owner, right? What does he have on the owner for Shawn to say that?
He said he'd go 8-8, he'd still be there. That's crazy to think that.
He's got to have something on him, right?
Yeah. Wow. All right, folks, give us the thumbs up, man. We got, 176? Let's go. Everybody give the thumbs up. the share button. Please share the button. Post it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that good. Send it to a friend on text. Spread the word, baby. They get the best sports talk in South Florida, talking about your teams right here every single day. Let's do this. Let's take a little break here. We'll come back on the other side at 12:50. Alex Marvez, the marvelous one, will join us. We'll take a break. Back with more right here on The Big O Show.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit on select models. Excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with zero down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We're back. Hope you guys are doing well out there and enjoying yourselves on a beautiful draft day on a Tuesday. We're a couple days away from the draft, which is just absolutely awesome. David Baños says, I'm with URC. It has to be Wirfs or Simmons. Big O, I share your show. You focus your focus on Finn's Miami sports, but you answer my 49ers friend's question perfectly too. Great show. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I mean, we talk about everything. We talk about everything going on in sports. I mean, we are a general talk show, sports talk show, but obviously our main focus is always going to be the Miami teams because that's where I live. That's where my heart is. That's where all my favorite teams are, so I got to go there. You know what I mean? Let's see. What do we have here? Major Finn says thumbs up and hit the sub at the same time. That's right. Subscribe, folks. Tall Ken Chit says Florida is on the map now. All right. I like it. We got Florida on the map. They figured us out. We're here. Troy Ortiz says no audio. Nobody's saying that, Troy. That means you got to turn it up because there's plenty of audio. I know
Maybe that's when it temporarily went down.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, we lost connection. So
oh, okay.
I had to do a little reconnect, a little momentary lapse.
Okay. All right. So we back. Let's see. What else do we have here? Big O, this was the best all-time hour of the show on YouTube. Well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Now it's all downhill from here. Let's see. Ty from the Bronx, fins up. There we go. Is in the house. What else do we have here? Man, there's so many. Julius 305, Michael Anderson, Petslin Kadu. Just reading some of these new names that I'm seeing. The Great Fear. The Great Fear came in with no audio. I guess, a sound went out. I guess, so for a time there, it kind of went out. I'm sorry about that. You can go back, by the way, on SoundCloud and iTunes, and you'll be able to hear whatever you missed. And then the following morning, you'll be able to, you can see it right after on video. Well, no, it went down, right? So it'll be gone. It'll be the audio one, unfortunately, that you'll have to listen to that one. Bromar says, I'm pumped up for the draft. Which
should be up in 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Radically says, after listening to Big O, the biggest need is left tackle. Wirfs and Wills are the right tackles. Miami will probably take Thomas at 5. Maybe. Let's see. What else do we have here? Vikin Bastajan says, Big O, long-time listener. Thank you. Thank you, Vikin. I appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. I mean, I can't say enough about how this thing is growing every single day and the way you guys have supported it and have spread the word too, because that's been the beautiful part of it, that a lot of you have spread the word on it. Is the LSU edge rusher a good fit at 18? Yes. Yes, he is. He's a good player. No doubt about it. That's where he's going to go in that second half of the first round. So, yes. I would you're not gonna get me to complain about Chason. He is going to be an absolute stud. I think and he fits what Miami does, actually. That's the other thing. That's the most important part, that he's not an end. He's an outside linebacking, rushing outside linebacker. So when you play 3-4, because like the 3-4 ends they're really not elite pass rushers usually. They're decent pass rushers, but they're more about stopping the run, filling the gaps, allowing the 4 linebackers.
Almost like a nose guard.
Yeah.
Take up your area.
Yeah. They're a B-side nose guard. There's an A-side and a B-side nose guard in the 3-4, and that's kind of what they're doing, because they're allowing the 4 guys in the back to really flow and make all the plays and things like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting him for the Dolphins. He's a heck of a player. I mean, dude, LSU, like I just said, they're going to have 15 players drafted, man. 15 players.
Whenever you see these numbers from these college teams, it just reminds you how far away our Canes are.
Oh, yeah.
And you see why we've had one 10-win season in 15, 16 years.
That's where we used to be, where we had multiple first-rounders and second-rounders and a couple fourth and a fifth and a seventh and a couple undrafted guys like Sam Shields or whatever and bust through. And, that's how it used to be for our
Once upon a time, Jimmy Jones recovering a fumble for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Jimmy Jones. How many of you remember this? You got to be old to remember this. When he said Jimmy Jones and I did this, very few people know what the hell that is. Even Jimmy Jones, if he's watching the video, he's like, yo, he remembers me. That kind of stuff. Jimmy Jones would be proud that I remembered his celebration.
Some hardcore Canes here.
Of course. Always. Till we die. Hells to the yeah. 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, that's 786-322-1105. We haven't checked it in a couple of days here, so we probably have several messages here. Let's see what has been cool, exciting week. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Salute to Pat Riley, who was smooth as usual on Last Dance last night. Oh, yeah. You know, we haven't talked about Last Dance. I didn't even get to it yesterday because I was so draft intensive. I watched Oregon-Arizona State game replay last night. Herbert doesn't impress. 7 points through 3.5 quarters, threw some passes that were in DB's hands but dropped, threw inside when the wide receiver was outside, rush throw on wide open, tight end that fell harmless to the ground. I think people have been talking up Herbert. I've been telling you that for a while, right? That I think Herbert's the guy that drops a little. Comeback that fell short when tunnel screens. If I'm going QB, it's going to go for greatness with Tua or bust. Maybe take a chance and wait and see if Love is there later. Herbert, no way. I saw the games last year. He's Joe Average. I'm with you. Herbert brings no it factor to any of this. None. What's up, Big O? Didn't Robert Kraft go through another scandal in the 90s, some sort of locker room thing? Oh, yeah, definitely. And he goes, founded Lisa Olson. Yeah, Lisa Olson is the only person that has been up close with a Patriot missile. Let's see. That was the joke back in those days. Yeah, that was the joke. I can remember Jimmy Jones
You're
celebration.
Going back to Desert Storm, man.
I can bring back Jimmy Jones celebration, and I can bring back Lisa Olson jokes. How about that? Huh? There you go. See, my brain isn't completely fried at 53. There's still stuff in there.
The Asian Massage King is thanking you.
That's right. That's right. Asian day spa, baby. Think we need to pause for a second and think of how awesome it is that we have so many picks. We can go back and forth with what we should do, but I'm just so psyched at the great place they have put us in. They have fins up, which I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Big O, it's been hard. Glad I found you. This is Black. It was on 87th and 87th and 27th Avenue. What was on 87th and 27th? What were we talking about a couple of days ago?
87th and 20. He's probably talking about the drive-in
he's talking
theater,
about the drive-in
brother.
theater. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. And this is Black. Well, I mean, Black. But Black was my cousin that we called Black.
Bert.
Yeah. And then the only other guy that was dark-skinned in our group was Midnight.
Yes.
I don't know who this is that he calls himself Black. Oh no. You got to give me a name, bro. Not sure. Fromm seems unspectacular, but both Eason and Fields could unseat him. Had to transfer. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not a Fromm guy. I think Fromm is a backup. I think Fromm plays in the league for a long time, but he's Brian Hoyer. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm not a Fromm guy. I just heard on WFAN in New York that the Dolphins are working on a trade with the Redskins. The Finns would move up to number 2. The Redskins will go down to number 5. And at number 2, they're reporting the Dolphins would take Tua. Why would the Dolphins do that? Dolphin Jeff from Long Island. That's not happening. Dude,
smoke screen.
Let me explain something to you, Dolphin Jeff. Okay? All right? And I will put my life on the line for this. Are you ready, Dolphin Jeff? If the Dolphins trade up to number 2, they're taking Chase Young. Do you understand that? And I will bet my life on it that if they move up to number 2, it's for Chase Young, not for a quarterback. Now, the Dolphins are not moving up to 2. They're not moving up to 3. They're not going to give up the picks, I don't believe. But that tells you all you need to know, that people are just throwing crap. Look, the guy in New York came out with some report, Malusis or whatever, over the weekend, that they had a trade for Odell Beckham, the Vikings, and all that. I brought on a guy that I know really well that covers the Browns inside and out, and he goes, that's a complete BS deal. That's not happening. Another report out of New York. Look, you got to remember, 99% of this crap that's reported is not true. It's just people pulling crap out of their asses, believing an agent, believing I don't know who else is giving it to them. But it makes no sense.
We have too many quality scout people in our organization right now to do that, correct?
Yes.
I mean,
and
bottom line.
Dude, if you're moving up to 2, you take the best player in the
Yes,
draft.
exactly. He is the best. He
You
is
take
number
the
one.
best player in the draft. You take Chase Young. Right? Not only do you take Chase Young, Flores then says, we are now a 4-3. That's what's going to happen. That's how good Chase Young is. Because he's not a 3-4 end. You don't take Chase Young and put him at end in a 3-4. That would be stupid.
You know what's the next thing you do?
Yes, sir.
You trade up and you get Isaiah Simmons.
You could go by the trade value chart when you're moving up a few picks, but when you want to jump from 8 to 9, it's another story. You're going to have to give up close to an extra 1,000 points, but Miami has the money, baby. 14 picks and 2 firsts and seconds next year. Give up 1839, a fourth and a fifth, and get 9 from Jacksonville, but in reality, we probably have to give up a second rounder next year as well. You guys have way too much time on your hands. You come up with trades that don't exist, never will happen, but you do it all the time. It's funny. It's hilarious. I think Tua is worth the risk at 5. If he works out, it's a home run. If it doesn't, we have 13 other picks and the search continues. But all the QBs in this draft come with the risk. One-year wonders, productivity, health, etc. Love the show, my brother. And that's why I said 2 weeks ago, even though I'm not a Tua guy, I'm good with drafting Tua. I got no problem with it because you got 13 more picks. Let's call Alex Marvez, the marvelous one. We talked with him in just a minute. Let's take you go ahead. You get him on. I'll just keep talking, and we'll get the marvelous one.
I think you're capable of doing that for a minute or two.
Yeah, once in a while. Jay Lee Long says, who is the bigger bad guy, Tiger King or Jerry Krause? Wow. Well, Tiger King, because if he's abusing animals, I mean, the Jerry Krause thing is just, it was ridiculous then when it was happening. We were all scratching our heads, and now it's another thing that's crazy. NorCal says, I'd love to see Young in Miami. They'd have to draft capital to get anyone they believe. I trust Greer, McKenzie, and Flores. I'm with you, man. Miami J Kid says, Big O Salisbury knows his quarterbacks. I'm glad he bursted all these Herbert fans' bubble. Well, it happens. All right.
Interrupting.
All right, let's do it.
Alex Marvez for you, sir.
The marvelous one is never an interruption. It is a blessing, and we are blessed to have Alex Marvez on, Sirius XM NFL radio host, and my co-host now on Saturdays. How about that? Are you co-hosting again with me on Saturday?
Actually, I'm doing my own gig opposite you. Is what I think is happening. 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, but not sure if they're gonna ask me to wedge in an hour at 9 a.m. I know I'm working midnight to 2 post draft on Thursday night and Friday night with Kirk Morrison on Channel 88. So excited about that. But it's been a great couple of weeks working with you. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, think about this. You could be back in the newspaper business where they have you doing 77 stories a day. So it's. I feel bad for your former brethren that are going through some rough ones there with the papers. Boy, they are.
At least they're employed.
True.
Because one of the things I worry about Big O is the fact that when things do get back to normal, will the locker rooms ever be open again? Will media be allowed into empty stadiums if that's what we're looking at for games? And what do you need writers for? At some point, newspapers continue to ask themselves that. I know it sounds like a silly question, but when so many of the companies are just into it for a profit rather than promoting quote-unquote journalism. Yes. And I get it. You have to make money in every endeavor, but I worry about the future of it. And I just know, look, it's a very different world, a very different draft, very different medium when it comes to media, and you've done a fantastic job always reinventing yourself, new technology, podcasts, YouTube channels, things like this, great sponsors that continue to support you. God bless. It is awesome. But, if you're ensconced in that newspaper media world, I would maybe look. Second day I was at the Miami Herald, the late, great Walter Creech told me in 1987, Alex, get out of this business and open a bicycle shop. I should have listened.
Yeah, but you did good because you're on satellite now, which, that's you're with
Schwinn, baby, Schwinn.
Yeah, there you go. You're with a good company in Sirius at least, so that's a good thing. All right, marvelous. So what's your I mean, you've covered this enough, but it's kind of fun. We don't really get to deal with it with the Dolphins at a high pick in this era of social media and all that. They're at 5, and it's been fun watching the sway of emotions and the reports. First it was Tua, now people have, them going for Herbert instead, and now the new wave is, well, no, they're not going to take a quarterback. They're going to take a position player at 5. So what's real and what's Memorex in your eyes?
Well, I know Gil Brandt's talked about that, and I think it's something at least the Miami Dolphins should talk about, right? Especially if you think that Tua Tagovailoa may be available a little bit later in the draft, because what is your if you want Tua, the question becomes, okay, who else might be interested in him? The LA Chargers, it is a possibility. Of course, at number 6, I think they are going to draft a quarterback, and I do want to put this caveat out there. Any quarterback who is drafted, they're not getting on the field for a while. And that goes from Joe Burrow on down. That's why I think Andy Dalton's sticking with the Cincinnati Bengals, because I think by the time that everything, tries to get back to some sense of normalcy, you may not have the preseason as normal. You may not have training camps as normal, these types of things. So I just think that it's going to be asking a lot for a rookie without a real off-season program to be put in the starting lineup week 1. So I think any player that you pick is a bit of a developmental pick. And in some ways, maybe that helps Tua Tagovailoa because, is he fully healed by the time you get him? Or does he need more time, to continue to recover from the hip surgery that he had last November? Kudos to the young man for getting as far as he has. You watch the workout videos, you realize how much time and effort he has put in to try to, forge an NFL career and be a high draft pick, and more power to him for all that. That being said, so the Dolphins have to consider, number one, how serious are the Chargers in the quarterback that they want, whether it's Tua or Herbert, because that is their legit competition. And then let's say that they figure out, okay, well, maybe the Chargers, from what we understand, are probably going to take Herbert. Do we want Herbert or do we want Tua? Can we bail out or take at 5, take that stud tackle to be able to provide protection, and then a little bit later on in the draft, maybe move up and be able to acquire a quarterback? And I know it's giving up draft equity to move up, but that being said, there's 4 top-tier tackles, although Mekhi Becton a little bit borderline right now after failing his drug test. But, when you talk Tristan Wirfs, Jared Wills, Anthony Thomas, you got to throw his name in there. I mean, there's some really quality folks. The question is, do the Dolphins feel where they're sitting? Can they get a bona fide, quality tackle a little bit later on in the draft with Pittsburgh pick, or are they going to have to move up to try to grab one of the guys? Orlando, as many as 7 offensive linemen projected to go in round 1, and I'm talking about just left tackle or slash right tackle type prospects. So all that being said, it's been a lot of fun. And I just know this, no matter what happens, Chris Greer's got to get this thing right. Look, he's been with the Dolphins for 2 decades, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a reason that he has stuck around in that front office. And we've talked about this. He has to be doing some things, on a real high level, to be able to survive so many administration changes, right? So, I mean, he and Brian Flores have to nail this thing. Whether it's Tua, whether it's Herbert, please understand, and we're all going to have a knee-jerk reaction, every draft pick, but please understand that people's livelihoods depend on the selection. They have done all the scouting that you possibly can on these folks within the confines of this year's draft, and as you know, that means not having physicals necessarily, all the way through on your medicals, all of these types of things that no pro days in some cases, all of these things that are handicaps as far as trying to evaluate prospects. They've done the best job they can to try to put the team in position to succeed. But no, this is a generation-shaping draft pick here, I think, by the Dolphins sitting there at 5 at quarterback.
Now, look, I remember when Jimmy drafted Yatil, I tore Jimmy a new one because he expected Yatil, and he sat there in the press conference, looked at Yatil, hey, no more pulls and stretches and all that. I'm like, come on, dude, this is who he is. And so I didn't learn my lesson because there I was right. But then I was a huge Devontae Parker advocate, all right? I loved the kid because I knew he was special talent-wise. But he had injury history at Louisville, and it continued in the NFL. And finally, in his 5th year, he showed what we all thought he could be, draft time. But it took you 5 years. So it's still kind of a bust already of a pick at this point. Do you stand with that theory that if you're injury prone in college, you'll be injury prone in the NFL? And if that's your theory, how do you view Tua, or you don't view it that way? How do you?
Well, no, if you do view it that way, then don't take Tua.
Well, how do you view it? You view it.
Well,
I want to know how you.
Well, let me just say this. I mean, at least in terms of the Tua selection, I've heard that is upwards of maybe 8 teams that just have like a flag on him. That's not to say that they wouldn't draft him at some point, but when you're selecting at number 5, I mean, that's a big gamble if you believe that a player is injury prone. But, it's just so weird because we've seen advancements in medicine, as well along the way, right? In terms of when you go back to Yatil, and we've seen now 22 years later, and God, time has flown by, right? Or 23 years, things are a little bit different. And, the fact that Tua has, again, without looking at medicals.
Hey,
okay,
you would have never thought McGahee had the career he had after that bowl game, right?
Exactly. But you had to, wait a year for him to get fully right. But then he came on. I don't think one size fits all. And I will tell you this, too. Yatil Green was at a time when the combine workouts were given so much credence, right, as well. The Mike Mamula situation, and you thought, oh, my gosh, because Yatil, I couldn't say he was a dominating force at the University of Miami. He wasn't Michael Irvin by any means. And of course, what compounds the problem there is when you pass on Randy Moss and everyone second-guesses you, of course. So all that being said, with Tua, look, his shoulder to me is still intact. That is a good thing. The hip, the wrist, the ankle, all of those other things that add up, are there chronic problems? Without looking at the medical, it's hard for me to answer that question because there's just some information publicly that you know and some things privately that you don't. And I don't have a complete on Tua, but I've got to think that any team that drafts him is obviously not only willing to take that risk, but has done extreme scouting on what the forecast is, talking to their doctors for recurrence of injury of any of the things that he suffered in the past.
Alex Marvez, of course, from Sirius XM NFL Radio. You can catch him there all the time on Channel 88. When is your next shift, my brother?
Be at 7 to 10 Eastern tonight with Gil Brandt, and then I got those post-draft shows. So keeping busy. We got Lynn Bowden, by the way, the Kentucky do-it-all wide receiver, although I think he could play everywhere in the NFL, coming up tonight. And Albert Owebukon, who I totally botched his name, the Missouri tight end, will be with us as well.
And Lynn could be an option for the Dolphins because I believe that if they go for a receiver, which is probably their deepest position, but they do have question marks because Preston was nice, but he was injured, and then obviously Devontae Parker was a stud, but he's got his history. But I can see them going for that guy that's the speedster / help you out on special teams because Jakeem Grant, again, has a little bit of an injury history too, and he's not a big guy. So I could see getting that guy that's the two-way player at the back end of their rotation. Could you see that?
And what's interesting, just real quick on Bowden, and this applies to all these players in the draft who didn't have full workouts at the NFL Scouting Combine. You're scared to death. A lot of times, because you don't know. If they don't have a 3-cone drill, if they don't have a 40, how do you know, where they're at, in terms of the measurements? Because film fools you. Just ask Bob Quinn, the Lions general manager. He had Tease Tabor, the Florida Gators, second-round corner. Looks at him on film. Well, he looks fast enough when I watch him play. But the reality is the guy ran a 4.7. He was a 4.7 corner in the NFL, and he was a complete washout as a second-round pick. I think in the case of Bowden, you see, that's where it's interesting because you're going to have veteran scouts. How do they marry the film to projected times on players? And, Orlando, you see it, man. Agents are sending in videos and saying, oh, the guy timed a 4.28 in the 40. I think Grant Delpit is the world's fastest man at this point, the LSU safety, right? Forget about Usain Bolt. It's some of these guys, who are doing these pre-draft workouts and some of the times that they're being turned in on them. But, man, that's, again, another challenge. In the case of Bowden, this guy could help the Dolphins in a lot of ways because he's that type of New England player. And that's why I think the Patriots would have some interest in him as well, because he can do so many things. He can play wildcat quarterback, but he can run. He was actually the SEC's leading rusher last year. They roll that around in your head, right? 6-2 as a starting quarterback after being converted from receiver. He also is a big-time returner. And by the way, Kentucky also had him practicing at nickel corner. And we're going to use him as a two-way player potentially if he didn't become the quarterback for the final 8 games last season. So one of those all-you-can-do guys, I know John Clayton's on record as saying he doesn't think he's going to be drafted. I do. I just think it's probably going to be on day 3 of the draft. But he's going to make a team happy, I think, because of all the different things he can contribute.
I'm with you there, no doubt about it. All right, Alex, if Miami stays at 5 and they don't go quarterback, who's the guy that you would say that realistically is going to be there and you love for Miami and you think it's a perfect fit?
Well, it's got to be a tackle. And listen, the other thing is if you're plotting to get Tua, I think there's a question it becomes, okay, after Tua, if you get him, let's not forget, he is a left-handed quarterback.
That's right.
So suddenly his blindside protector has got to be playing on the right side. So how much consideration is there in that? And we have a couple players. Mekhi Becton would be considered a right tackle caliber player. If you wanted to put him there, even though he's a very nimble guy. But, I mean, you've got him. Tristan Wirfs has played the position. But, I would imagine that the Dolphins would be at left tackle. And, again, it's where, do you love Jared Wills and the athleticism that he displayed at Alabama? Tristan Wirfs, no offensive lineman of his size has ever had better jumping ability. Now, what does that mean as far as, blocking and protecting for a player? I really don't know. I know Iowa turns out quality offensive linemen. Very rarely do high prospects bust from there. So I think that's probably a guy that you feel really safe about. And some people just love Anthony Thomas. And, listen, you can criticize Mike Tannenbaum all you want, and there's a long list of things he did wrong with the Dolphins. But one thing that he, Chris Greer, Adam Gase did do correctly was draft Laramie Tunsil. Now, I'm not talking about the trade or anything like that, but the guy was a legitimate bona fide left tackle, and they did a great job scouting him. Mike Tannenbaum loves Andrew Thomas of Georgia. Got to get a little bit better with his hands from what I'm hearing around the NFL. Learn how to use them better. But this guy, probably be your starting left tackle 10 years. I mean, he's like physically built to play the position. He's like a lean Tyron Smith. I mean, he's a big, dominating guy. That's a nice part about it. I mean, the tackle rate, we've seen it through the years. I know Orlando, Greg Robinson, Jason Smith. We've had some busts, Luke Jokel, more of the Texas A&M guys. But I think by and large, the tackle position works out. That's why whomever the Dolphins pick among the top 4 at left tackle, and I do think it would be a tackle above all else at that number 5 pick, I think that you feel pretty good that that's going to be a great pick for them.
You like Simmons because that's another guy that looks like a total Brian Flores player because he plays 42 positions, even though there's only 11 on the field.
Right, he's the anti-Minka. Is that the deal? He actually wants to play in different spots rather than, and the breakdown of his stats is amazing because I don't know if we've seen a top prospect like this split time at 3 spots the way that he did. Corner, safety, linebacker. And while he doesn't really project to a corner in the NFL, if you need to put him in the slot and do a little bit of a mix-up there, you can do that. I know he's got some pass rush ability. He is appealing at the linebacker spot. It's just curious to me, what are the Dolphins trying to accomplish on defense is what I'm trying to figure out. What are the types of frontline players? This is a bad draft when it comes to pass rush. It just is. And
that's why they did free agency the way they did. And I thought it was really, really smart that they went and got their pass rushers in free agency, didn't spend a world of money on those guys, but a nice little rotation for the next couple of years because they knew that this draft wasn't a great pass rushing draft. I thought there was a lot of method to the madness, actually, in their free agency.
Right. And, the thing with Simmons, everyone loves that versatility. They love it, the ability to maybe play him everywhere. The big question is, does it get past Detroit at 3? Because as we know, Detroit is trying to emulate what happens with the New England Patriots and putting in a similar style there. Because I just don't know if they take a corner that high. It's a draft with corners. We've got Okudah and Jeff Okudah of Ohio State, C.J. Henderson of Florida, and then probably A.J. Terrell bringing up the rear at number 3. And then you got a jumble of guys, after that. So, when I'm looking at Detroit, obviously with the trade of Darius Slay, they're in need of some cornerback help. But do you draft a corner that high? Big O, as you know, that is not a position where you get top 3 picks. You're looking at Denzel Ward at number 4 a couple years ago by Cleveland in 2018. That was the highest a corner had been taken in 20 years. So I think if the Lions end up staying put, Simmons may be their guy. I don't see them taking a tackle that high. I think that they're okay with what they have, structure-wise on their offensive line. But so maybe Simmons becomes that dynamic defender that they need to help them in Detroit. These guys, the other thing with Detroit, they need impact. They need someone who can come in and help them right away. And I don't know if Martha Firestone Ford changes her tune about, needing to win in games and play meaningful football in December when it all comes down. But Detroit's interesting, and that's why I think they're the we had Ian Rappaport of NFL Network today talk about how the Redskins are being contacted by teams about the possibility of trading out of 2. I think if you really want someone, and the Redskins aren't willing to move out of 2, and I don't think they will because Chase Young is obviously the guy there. Then at 3, Detroit is that team because they can accumulate a couple picks, move back, still get Okudah because I don't see him being picked by the Dolphins. I don't see him being picked by the Giants. So if the Chargers want to move up, boom, you get him. You pick up a selection and you go from there. But Isaiah Simmons, I think, going to be awfully tempting for them because all he can do on the defensive side of the football.
Follow him on Twitter at Alex Marvez and catch him tonight and catch him every night there at Sirius XM NFL Radio doing his thing with Gil Brandt, the legend. Alex, as always, you are marvelous. Thank you for taking some time. Thank you for always being in my corner, my friend. I appreciate you. I know our listeners appreciate you. Thank you, my friend.
Continued success, Big O. You are killing it in the age of coronavirus. Really appreciate you. Okay, be good, baby.
Thank you, baby. You got it. There you go. Appreciate you, the marvelous one. Appreciate all of you. Record right now 211 watching. Give us a subscribe, baby. Give us a subscribe. We hit 200.
Alex did a good job on the follow-up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we did definitely.
He brought it.
So this whole week is about bringing it, man. We got a hell of a week for you. We got more great guests tomorrow. We still have Cameron Wolf going to join us at 1:30, so we'll get the Dolphin perspective on that. I know Perkins will give us the Dolphin perspective tomorrow. We had Alan Poupar, who covers the Dolphins for SI on Monday. Today we've got Cam. Tomorrow we've got Perk, along with a slew of other great guests tomorrow. And
Brady also involved, right?
Yeah. Brady Papinga definitely involved tomorrow. Here's my damn thing. I'll give you the lineup. Tony Pauline tomorrow at 11:30. Chris Perkins at noon from The Athletic to talk Dolphins. Bo Marchionte, pro scout, is going to join us at 1 o'clock. And Brady Papinga will join us at 1:30. How about that? And then on Thursday, we got Mark Lillibridge, former linebacker in the NFL, scout, contract negotiator, agent. He's done it all in the NFL. He'll join us at noon. Rick Neuheisel, college coach, obviously working for Sirius XM ESPNU. He knows all these college quarterbacks, so we'll go in depth with him. Doug Farrar is the NFL draft editor for USA Today. He's been covering the NFL for a long, long time. He is a draft nut, so that's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to drop all kinds of nuggets at 1:30. And then John Murphy, who knows, pro talent like no one else out there. Murphy is actually the director of player personnel for the Toronto Argonauts. So he's going to take time to join us and talk a little NFL. He can do that because he's not working for an NFL team. So he can talk about these players that are going to get drafted into the NFL because they're not going to the CFL, so it doesn't get in his way. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I start asking about the fringe players that aren't going to get drafted, he might get in trouble for that one because those are the guys that are going to the CFL. So he might get in trouble for that. But talking about, all the top quarterbacks, he won't because they're going to get drafted into the NFL.
Stay within the realm of allowed.
Right, exactly, which is cool. So, and I've those of you that have followed our show for a long time, Murphy literally has been on my show for 20 years. Okay, 20 years of doing interviews with him. So there you go. Actually, it's a little more than 20, but whatever. Who's counting? All right, let's take a quick break because we haven't taken a break in a while here. We'll get a quick break in. At the bottom of the hour, Cameron Wolf will join us. We'll reset. You want to get in, send your questions in. We'll answer them now in 2 minutes here on the YouTube chat board. If you got any questions, comments, insults, all of that, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to share the link with folks. Send it to a friend. Post it on Twitter, all that good stuff. If you're watching it later on this video, give us that thumbs up and that like and always subscribe. Let's take a break. Back with more right here on The Big O Show.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit on select models. Excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with 0 down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% 30% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We are back. Ah, yes. All right. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Hope you're feeling good. It's a beautiful day on a Tuesday. We're 2 days away from the draft. Looking forward to it. It's a lot of things to talk about on the program. I love it.
Just real quick.
Yes.
The Georgia governor saying he's going to open up the state on Friday. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Friday. This Friday, he says they're full go with barbershops and massage parlors and bowling alleys and
how it goes.
And it's just like, you are aware of what's going on in Albany, Georgia. You know, like per capita, whatever their number, they're like one of the highest in the whole country. The percentage
that
have contracted, percentage that have passed away. They're like in the top 10.
Right.
And it's like, what do you think? And some of the beaches in Georgia, you know, that have said flat out, hey, we don't have lifeguards. This is like, and you're opening up, like, no, we're not open. Our area, like our city, we're not open. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what's going to happen in this country right now. Let's see. Dan Horsley, let's see. Oh, you guys are like talking to each other here. You're not talking to me.
They're
Lewis
leaving you
Jones. Lewis Jones, this is a must-hit draft, and I have confidence in this front office. Fins up. I am with you, my friend, on that. I do have plenty of what's it called? The faith in these guys. Dwayne Wood says Simmons, who is a 6'4", ran a 4.39 at the combine. All that stuff means nothing to me. Watch him play. That's what means something to me. When you watch Simmons play, you watch a dude that balls. Carlos says, man, I just want a competitive team for the Finns. It's been way too long living under mediocrity. Hopefully it will change this Thursday. I trust Flores and Greer will make the right decisions. Well, it'll change hopefully by the end of the 2020 season, my friend. It won't change on Thursday. That's just drafting a name. That don't mean anything. And listen, you got to draft the guys on Friday and on Saturday, and you got to get the undrafted guys. Look at Preston Williams. He was making a hell of an impact as an undrafted guy. So it's a lot more than just on Thursday to make it respectable. Dwayne Wood, if the Finns are looking at nose tackle depth in the 6th or 7th round, look at Bravion Roy, Jose Coatney, or Malcolm Roach. All right. There we go. We got suggestions late in the draft. We'll get there. We'll be able to talk about that. Okay? We'll have shows, by the way, throughout Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the draft. So we will be here doing our thing. Okay? David says, this is probably the only draft where a team can almost build an O-line with the players in this draft. Well, it'll help. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's the thing. You know? So that's what we're hoping. That they do build several lines. Not just one. Let's hope they build a line and a couple of backups that are pretty damn good. That would be really nice if they're able to achieve that.
You know who's the kid I really like, man, that reminds me of Sanders from the Colts, and he has the same problem size? The kid from Minnesota, Antoine Winfield.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I love this kid.
Yeah.
But his size, man. How does he last? It's
Probably
like
won't.
Sanders, right?
He was always injured.
Yeah, but I love, man, he was like
hell of a player, but always
Palomalu, yeah.
Always, well, Palomalu wasn't always injured.
No, but I mean, he was like Palomalu, but he didn't have the size to do it.
Right. Irish says, we have the right staff, the right GM, and we will have Dolphin glory days ahead soon, playoffs 2020. I don't know about 2020, but maybe 2021. I don't know about that. Call of Duty says, I wanted to sponsor the first round of the draft. Well, you got a business? We'll go over there. Let's go. What do you got? We can talk. We can still talk business to go do our draft at your business. We can still do that. Okay. Carlos says, yes, Big O, I agree. All the best. Well, thank you. Major Finn says, oh, would you rather complete the defense in the draft first than splashing QB later in the first or next year, or get the web now? Dude, I just want a better team this year, my man. I don't want – what you don't do – see, what I don't want to do, Major, is rush any of it. I don't want to force drafting Tua at number 5, and I don't want to force drafting Herbert at number 5 when neither one is worthy because of their certain question marks, whether it's health or you don't believe in the kid, which I don't believe in Herbert. And in Tua, I don't believe in his health. So I want my lineman there. You know what I mean? And then I'll take the quarterback when it's there for me. But I'm not trading the house for the quarterback. And I'm not moving up and giving up a bunch of picks for a quarterback. And I'm not taking a guy that I don't think is going to be healthy as much as I like Tua. Now, again, the one thing that I will understand about the Tua thing is because I believe in him as a passer, as a player, and you've got 13 other picks, then I don't mind that if you take him, okay, I don't agree with it, but I understand that Miami can take that gamble. Detroit can't. If you only have one pick in the first round, it's stupid to take Tua. Unless you're at 15 or 20 or 25, then I understand if you take Tua. But if you're in the top 10, you don't take Tua. I just don't believe you do. But if you're Miami and you got 4,000 picks, then go ahead. But you don't force things. Don't trade up for Tua. You don't do any of that stuff. And if you don't get a quarterback this year, then so be it, man. Then you work for it next year. Build up the team is what I want. Specifically, the offense and defensive lines. Miami has to get back to dominating at the point, right there, at that line of scrimmage. When they do that, everybody else's job is that much easier. That's all. Secondary's easier. Linebackers, it's easier when your guys in the front are dominating. When your guys in the front are dominating, the quarterback has more time. Receivers have more time to run their routes. Tight ends can work the middle of the field. Running backs can come out of the backfield. Everything is so much easier. But you got to dominate on the lines. If they're constantly penetrating your lines, constantly caving in your lines, there's no way you're going to succeed. That's why we had fun throughout at the end of the season, and we were talking about quarterbacks. And even though Ryan Fitzpatrick is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I get it, he's not this great quarterback, but then we would talk about certain quarterbacks, and I would tell you, well, we'll take the Ryan Fitzpatrick challenge. Because no matter what you think about Ryan Tannehill with Tennessee, and you can feed all the BS you want to yourself on this, but I've heard people, oh, no, he turned the corner. Yeah? So if you put Ryan on last year's Miami Dolphins team, with that line and no running game, does he win 5 games? Come on. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying that, no matter what Ryan did, it didn't impress me because he had a monster line, he had a monster running game, and he had a dominant defense. And all he had to do was make a couple of passes. Ryan Fitzpatrick had to kill himself in order to just be competitive, much less win a game. And I know he's not a great quarterback, but if you think about what he accomplished last year, you got to be an exceptional quarterback to actually win more games than he did. You have to be like a legit franchise quarterback. So no need to push for it. No need to force the issue. Build the team the right way and with the best players that arrive to you. That way you've got 14 picks, and now you have loaded your team up with 14 different players. Now you've got options galore. But if you start bunching a bunch of picks to move up to get one guy, now you're putting your eggs in one basket. If you know what the hell you're doing, you'll find Dak Prescott in the 4th round. And you'll find Joe Montana in the 3rd, and you'll find Drew Brees in the 2nd, and you'll find Tom Brady in the 6th. That's how it goes. You'll get Mark Brunell in the 5th. I could just go on and on and on. Russell Wilson in the 3rd. It doesn't end. What? What do we got?
Just call, or you want to take a break?
No, yeah, you could just call. Just call so we can get Cameron Wolf on.
You know, the Fitz
you.
challenge, man, most guys fail.
I know that.
You got to give props to Fitz. Like, it's
I know.
surprising.
I know. I know. Ryan Tannehill would get killed back there because he doesn't even have the instincts to stay alive back there the way Fitzpatrick did, scrambling, running, all that stuff. Give me a break. The Dolphins would be lucky to win 2 games with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback last year. Okay? So there's no reason to force the issue now. You're not going anywhere this year. So if you can actually just survive this year and get better, that's what it's all about. But if the quarterback falls to you, take him. And the good thing, look, you have 14 picks. So if you don't get Tua or Herbert early, then you go to the second phase with Eason and Gordon and then the third phase with Nate Stanley and James Morgan and Luton and Davidson. So there's going to be waves. It's just, where do you go? But don't force it. It's not like you're 1 or 2 players away from getting it done.
Oh, I got Cameron Wolf for you, sir.
All right, baby. This is, Cam becomes the cleanup hitter today on the show because Max Starks, former offensive tackle for the Gators and the Steelers, came in, gave you great insight on the tackles, right? He started it off. He sprayed it out to right field, got on base. Shawn Salisbury followed up. He gave you great insight on the quarterbacks. He drove in Max Starks with a double, right? Then the marvelous one, Alex Marvez, got in, got scored. He's on first. Now we've got Salisbury on third. And now we got the heavy hitter, Cameron Wolf, coming in to hit the home run, drive everybody in, and give us a 4-0 lead.
Kirk Gibson, bottom of the ninth style, 88 World Series.
Yes. That's it. Except
I'll take it. I'll take the walk-off.
Except Cam's not injured. Cam's coming in healthy, so it's going over the fence. Cameron Wolf, sir, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to hit that grand salami.
That's what I love to hear. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf. So the question I have for you, my friend, what is the grand salami? What are the Dolphins going to hit at number 5? Because the reports are, they love Tua. Maybe they don't like Tua. They like Herbert. Well, no, now they're going to take a position player instead of a quarterback. And maybe they're maneuvering with a second pick for a quarterback. So, my friend, you are on this beat. What are you hearing? What's real? What's Memorex?
Man, it is smokescreen season. I think we talked about this last time we were on, and you're going to hear so much information from the combine to the draft that it's going to confuse everyone. And my stance hasn't changed much from what it was a month ago. I would be surprised if they don't take a quarterback at 5, whether that's a trade up or whether that's picking at 5. I don't buy that they, roll the dice and try to take a position player and figure out if they can move up from their quarterback. You just can't do that when a position as important as quarterback. So I see them taking a quarterback at 5, and my thought from day one has been that Tua is too good to pass up, and you've got to be able to take a chance and not draft scared if you want to change your fortune as a franchise. So I'm still in the boat that I believe Tua is their guy.
I don't believe that he'll stay healthy, but I do understand the gamble, because when you've got 14 picks, man, it doesn't really hurt you to take this gamble. A great draft for the next 13. It's like if your draft started at 18 instead of at 5. Your draft starts at 18, like maybe it will next year, that you might be in the middle of it if you win 8 or 9 games. That's where you're going to be. So you, from 18 and on, you have 13 picks. You have more than enough picks to have a great draft with or without Tua, that if Tua hits, it should become the greatest draft in franchise history.
Oh, absolutely. This is a franchise-defining draft, and I think Chris Greer, it was good for him that he admitted that, hey, it's very important he doesn't hit a home run. We're talking baseball terminology. He talked to his teleconference last week, and he said, I'm not hiding from the pressure. It's very important for us to get this right. he knows if they don't get this draft right and the next draft right, there's probably a good chance he might not see so many more drafts in Miami. It's just the way the business works. So, I think that this is a very, very important draft. The quarterback is what we all spend a lot of time on, but like you mentioned, they should be able to get at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 starters out of this draft, given all the draft capital they have. So I think there's going to have to be some positions where they may take a safer player, a guy that they feel like can be a starter with less upside. But with quarterback, I think that you've got to make sure you get that at a home run. And Tua, I think, is a home run.
Yeah, well, listen, I there's no doubt as a player, he is a home run. The question is, will he be Devontae Parker? That's really the question now is,
I hear you.
Why wouldn't he be chapter 2 of all of this? You know what I'm saying?
So here's my thing about Tua. You can guess on him being hurt or not, but it's football. There's no guarantee that anybody's going to be healthy. People forget that Justin Herbert had a broken collarbone and a broken leg throughout his college career that caused him to miss some games. It's just because the most recent injury we've seen for Tua is the hip. He had a couple ankle surgeries, so you worry about that. But there's been countless situations in the NFL where players who got hurt in college didn't get hurt in the NFL, and you can't predict for sure which players are going to be the injured guys in the NFL and which guys are not. Frank Gore is a guy coming out of college that no scout thought he was going to play 3 or 4 years in the league, and now we can't get him to retire. So I just think to play the game of we're scared that he might get hurt because he got hurt a few times in college, I think that's not the way to draft. If you like a guy, if he's the clear QB1 for you, then you got to pull the trigger and take the risk with whatever happens in the future.
Do you think that the feeling you're getting, at least, Dolphins stay at 5 and take Tua if he's there, or are they willing to trade up and give up assets in order to secure him? What do you think about that?
Yeah, now that's been the question I've had throughout the whole draft process, and I think that a lot of the smoke that we've seen through this draft process is an aim for the Dolphins not to have to move up. Everybody knows that the Dolphins have all this draft capital, and every other team wants it. So the best way to get it is to say, hey, if you don't move up, you're not going to get your guy. I think the Dolphins believe they can get their guy, whether it's Tua or Herbert, at 5. I think that everybody assumed the Chargers were going to get a quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers go offensive line and skip on a quarterback in this draft. And then if that's the case, who else is going to trade up ahead of Miami to get that guy? So I think that they're being careful so they're not competing against themselves. Detroit and the New York Giants are screaming from the rooftops to anybody who will listen that they're trying to trade those picks. And from what I understand, they're not getting a lot of offers. So I think there's a real chance the Dolphins stick at 5 and stick to their guns and take their guy.
So, Cam, how is it now covering the Dolphins? Because apparently they've picked up a little bit from Pat Riley in the Heat. Sergeant Schultz, I know nothing. I say nothing. I know nothing. So apparently it's a little harder to break the force field of the Dolphins now covering them. Is that true or untrue?
Yeah, it's different for sure. The organization definitely got tighter at the top since there was a coaching change and a little bit of front office shuffling. Brian Flores isn't one that goes tell everybody his plans. And Chris Greer really isn't either. Chris Greer, he's not a big talker. So, that's why I found it really interesting that all this information is coming about how everybody knows exactly how Miami feels about these prospects. Who's telling them? Because if it's Chris Greer, then I'm almost certain that he's not telling you the thing that he feels because it doesn't make sense for him. So I just think that Miami is a team that runs in secret, and I think that the secret got out last year that they left Tua. And I believe they've been going overdrive to make it less clear that Tua is their guy.
So crazy. All right, so let me ask you: if it's not quarterback at 5, Cam, who's the guy that you look at and you say, well, if they draft this guy, I'm definitely writing one hell of a positive story because I think this guy's a hell of a player. Who is that?
Man, I'm not going to lie to you. It'd be hard pressed for me to write a positive story if they don't take a quarterback because that's the position that everything needs to go towards. I mean, there's an offensive tackle up there. I really like Andrew Thomas. I think Jedrick Wills is also a guy that probably be worthy of a top 5 pick. Those are probably my 2 top tackles. If they took either of those guys, that would be a good pick in a normal draft. But unless they find a way to get 2 at 18 or feel comfortable in some other way, I just don't know how I could be happy with a situation where they don't take a quarterback in the top 5. So, one of those 2 offensive tackles can help. Derek Brown's a really, really good player. I think he's probably the top player in the draft, not named Chase Young or the quarterbacks. But they can't afford to take a defensive tackle or an offensive tackle in the top 5. They've got to take a quarterback.
Do you expect them to draft all 14 players, or do you expect them to drop out and use one of those picks to go into the 2021 draft?
Yeah, I can see them definitely trading 1 or 2 of those picks into 2021. I do think that one thing for us to watch, and we talk about trade ups, I could definitely see them trading up for the number 18 pick. Assuming they, take a quarterback, whether 2 or Herbert at 5, I definitely could see them trading, maybe the 13 with San Fran, or maybe even into the top 10 to get one of those offensive tackles that we talked about. They need to get that offensive line right. So maybe they use one of those second-round picks or even a third-round pick and a fourth-round pick to move up from 18 to maybe 13 or 10 to get that offensive tackle. So, yeah, I don't think they'll use all 14. I think they'd love to get, maybe 10 or 11 rookies in here. But 14 is a lot of players trying to get in, especially in a shortened offseason where they're not going to be able to get a lot of offseason work.
What did you read into the released players over the weekend when they let go of 6 guys? What was your take on that?
Well, first they have to have room. They had 78 players on this roster and could only have a 90-man roster. So we talk about draft picks. They have 14 picks. Even if they drafted all those picks, they would have two players that's too many. So they just simply didn't have enough room. They have a lot of players they've signed as far as future contracts, and they haven't really let go of a lot of guys. So I took it as, hey, now they have 72 players in the roster, which means they can add 18 through a combination of draft picks and through undrafted free agents. So they'll probably have a small undrafted free agency crop, maybe 5 or 6 guys, and then they're drafted guys. So I just took it as they needed to make room, and those were guys that they felt like weren't going to make the roster.
Yeah, I took it as they got some confidence that the options they're going to find in street free agency are going to be way better than what they have, and they know they're going to draft their players, but then obviously they're going to pick some guys like a Preston Williams last year,
right?
And because of the less workouts and all that stuff, a lot of scouts are telling me that small school guys are going to slip out of this draft now. And I think those are some of there might be a steal or 2. Maybe there's another chapter to this Preston Williams thing that they get on a little roll now. And once again, another year where they find a guy undrafted that could help them out.
Yeah, they say day 3 in the undrafted crop is where you really show off your scouting department. So we talked a lot about the Dolphins, getting Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie and some of the names they brought in. This is where their talent shines. When they can try to pick out the guys who are going to be, undervalued, like you said, the small school guys, the guys with injury concerns, the guys that didn't run well, all those guys that may typically have got more attention because they had pro days to improve their stock, don't have that. So I think you're right. You're going to see a lot of guys go undrafted, and the good scouting departments are going to be able to find those guys and sign them after the draft.
Cameron Wolfe, of course, from ESPN NFL Nation, covering the Fins on a daily basis, and you can follow him on Twitter like I and so many other Dolphin fans do, at Cameron Wolfe. Cam, one of the 6 guys was Gerald Willis, the former UMer, and obviously we always have more interest in those players that are joining the Dolphins. We want them to stick, but this kid's been cut 3 times. I know he had injuries. What's the word with him? Because dude, that guy has talent, all right? We have watched him, be super disruptive at the college level, and it's a guy that you look at and you say, he's got some NFL skills, but what the hell goes on behind the scenes that they're easily getting rid of him, and he's always available to bring back, so it's not like somebody else is clamoring for him. What's the story behind there?
Yeah, it's an interest for him. He was good last year. I think a lot of us thought he was going to be maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick, and he went undrafted. he just had a lot of injuries. People think, we talk about the injury-prone label. I remember being at his pro day, and he was describing things that were still hurt on him. So I just got a broken finger that I got to get repaired. I got a groin injury, and these are all things that he's still playing through. Not to mention the things that sideline him. So I think the injuries have kind of sapped a little bit out of what he was in college, and he's a little bit of an undersized guy. So for teams, it's multiple strikes. Undrafted guys don't get a lot of opportunities to prove themselves. So if you're not on the field being healthy and you're not the marquee size and speed that they want, those are usually strikes against you, and it makes it hard for you to make an impact in the league.
Cameron, I'm going to ask you a weird question here because it's a little bit off the wall. But this is a challenge for NFL teams this year because they don't have the same access that they've had in the past. What have you learned from the Dolphins scouting staff that might help them in this area, or maybe something you learned that might hurt them in this area? Why do you think they might be able to adjust to this or struggle with this environment?
Yeah, I think the interesting portion is that there's a lot of prospects that are in South Florida. And the way the situation works is that you can't fly in a player and have them into your area. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins were able to get some guys who are in the South Florida area and were able to even talk to them or get a workout in different ways, And that might not be something until we know until after the draft. But I know they were able to get J.K. Dobbins in quickly for a meeting because he was out here in the South Florida area. So because a lot of players train out here, I think that's an asset for them. And I think it will be even, as we go longer into the offseason if there's no workout. So I think that's something that's a benefit. And the fact that they had so many picks, I think that they're going to have a lot more information on, prospects because they've been doing their homework and the scouting throughout this whole year and 2 years. They knew how important this draft was. And I guess the final thing is we talked a little bit about this, but they hired a lot of new coaches. And a few of them came from the college ranks. Their new DB coach, Gerald Alexander, was coaching at Cal last year. The new outside linebacker coach was coaching at Illinois last year. So you've got a lot of coaches that were in the college spectrum last year. So now they know a lot of these prospects, and those relationships may help them, know players on draft day and help in that undrafted free agency process afterward.
And I almost feel, Cam, you tell me because you've been at this for a while too, but I almost feel whatever team has more old school scouts may end up benefiting the guys that were more new school and just depending on workouts and combine stuff and things like that and just the personal interviews may be falling behind. But that guy that grinded and went to the different schools all throughout the year and was asking the trainers and the secretary and everybody else and was really digging in, I think the guys that may have more old school guys might have a slight edge in this one too. Do you think there's any sense to that?
No, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of teams that rely on 2 days of testing, and particularly the people who are analytic people. And I don't want to knock the analytics because they're important in some sense. But this is a draft where you might not have complete profiles. So if you rely on analytics and the guy's 40 time and how they look in a 3-cone drill and all this different information to draft, then you're going to be out of luck because, one, there's not a lot of information for pro days, and two, there's just you're not able to check your sources on this because they're not in your building. They're not able to do the medicals. They're not able to get you all the information that you need. So yeah, I think it's going to be the tape grinders, the guys the teams and the guys who rely on tape for their evaluation. Those are the guys who are going to be most successful in this draft. And for Dolphins fans, I'm sure they hope that the Dolphins are one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Cameron Wolfe, of course, from ESPN NFL Nation, kind enough to join us here talking a little Miami Dolphins. All right, Cam, before I let you go, I got to ask you this. They need help on the O-line. They need help on the D-line. They need help at linebacker. Obviously, quarterback is a need. The Dolphins have lots of needs, but one dynamic need that a lot of people want to see is at running back. I know they signed Howard, and I like that pickup because that's a guy you can use on short yardage, power back. You don't have to wear out the featured guy all the time. So they're going to get a featured guy. So what's the prediction? Where do you think they get that feature guy? Do they get him at the 26th pick in that first round? Do they get him in the second round? Because I think it's going to be either or. I don't think it's going to be 5 or 18, but I really feel it'll be either 26 or even 39 where we might see that running back, that dynamic guy that can catch the ball and run the ball. Do you think that's going to happen there? That's the part one. And part two, who's the guy you love?
Yeah, I actually have a FAQ story, burning questions about the Dolphins draft coming out on ESPN.com. And that's one question that I have to answer on there. But for you guys, I can kind of give you my thoughts on this. I think the sweet spot for the running back is the second round. I know a lot of people will say the first round because you can get maybe a DM.
Cam, get a little closer to the phone or speak up because you faded a little bit there. I'm sorry.
Can you hear
there
me?
We go. Perfect. Beautiful. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think the sweet spot for the running back position is that second round. I think some people may say you can get a DeAndre Swift in the late first round, and you can. But I think we've seen how devalued that position is. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if no running back's going round one. But whether it's 39 or 56, I think the Dolphins can get them a top 3 or top 4 running back in the draft at either spot. My favorite in the draft is J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. I think he's the best running back in the draft, and I think he's a guy that'll be there at 39. I wouldn't even be shocked if he was there at 56, just given, how big guys and quarterbacks typically run the draft. So, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is another guy who, is a little smaller guy, but I think that he would be a great fit, balancing out Jordan Howard. And then we didn't even talk about Jonathan Taylor, who's the other back out there who's, first, second round talent. So I think if they want to wait till 56, they can get one of those 4 guys. If they want to make their choice of which one they like best, they could do that at 39. So either way, I think second round is that sweet spot.
Well, listen, since you mentioned the LSU running back, the fun stat to track in this draft is who's going to end up with more picks, the Miami Dolphins or LSU? Because, dude, I'm counting that they may have 15 players drafted, and Miami has 14 picks. So there's the fun stat of the draft. Who ends up with more picks, LSU or Miami?
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll keep track of it.
All right, Cam, you are the best, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. Really classy on your part. I know Dolph fans really appreciate it on this week, on draft week, man. Big week for all of us.
Absolutely.
Should be a lot of fun on Thursday. Thank you, man.
Should be, man. Have a good one. Stay safe.
You got it, baby. Stay safe. There you go. Cameron Wolfe, love it, from ESPN NFL Nation. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Good conversation there with him on all of that.
Some kick-ass interviews today.
Yeah, man.
Major.
Yeah. No, today was and yesterday too, and the whole week we've got.
Yeah, it's wow.
We've got a
heavy duty, man.
Yeah, Prisco was excellent yesterday. We had who was it on yesterday? Now that I'm brain farting. What did we have yesterday? Cam Wolfe.
Mike.
Oh, we had
Reese.
Alan Pupar was excellent.
Alan Pupar was last.
Right.
And in between was Mike Reese.
Oh, Reese, dude. Reese was excellent, bro.
Yes.
I get it. You're not a Patriots fan, but it's football talk. And we got into it in depth with him about all kinds of – it was an excellent conversation, man. Even that one. I know it's not Dolphin related, and I know a lot of us are Dolphin fans. But again, we're a sports show, so we're going to address different things. It doesn't always have to be the Dolphins, the Heat, the Marlins, the Panthers, the Canes, Inter Miami. You know what I'm saying?
You got diversity, man.
Yeah,
you
bro.
could go around the realm here, man.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Got to do that. So there you go. We got that going on. I mean, and I've got all these stories that I haven't even gotten to yet. I've got a bunch of stuff that I haven't even gotten to, and we're already at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we started at 11. So we've got the 3 hours in already on the show, which is just absolutely classic. Speaking of classic, did you watch Last Dance finally? Did you get to see both episodes on Sunday night?
Oh yeah, no,
Because we didn't talk about it yesterday.
Yeah, no, I was watching them. I recorded them also.
Yeah, of course, definitely. I'm going to rewatch it again probably before Sunday, before episodes 3 and 4 come out. Which again, they're making us wait a week now for these.
You know what's pissing me off?
It's a 5-week deal now.
Exactly what you're talking about. You know what's the last show, I was thinking about it, that I watched while it was on in its run, waiting for the next week, for the next show?
Players. Remember
Cheers.
that one from ESPN?
Cheers, Moonlighting.
Oh, wow. God, that was a long time ago.
Everything else has been syndication, and I've gotten so used to, give me the DVDs and bada bing, and I do 24
Binge.
shows in 2 days.
Yeah, well, there's no binging here because we gotta watch and talk about it. But the ratings are out. It got 6.1 million viewers on episodes 1 and 2 combined. They had 3.5 million alone from 18 to 49 demo. Episode 1 got a 6.3 million views, and episode 2 was 5.8, so 500,000 people had to go to sleep for the second
they
episode.
had the DVD,
or
the DVR. The DVR had it,
or they
man.
were watching local news or something. I have no idea what they were doing, but 500,000 people. I mean, most of you aren't even working. The 500,000 people that dropped out, come on, man. That's like weak sauce. So number 1 of docs for ESPN was You Don't Know Bo back in 2012 with 3.5 million people watching it. So this jumped to 6.1 because, of course, we're all sequestered. We're all in quarantine. So you got a lot of people at home. I can't imagine what the draft numbers are going to be this weekend, especially Friday and Saturday. I mean, Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, because that's rounds 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, Thursday is going to be through the roof with Joe Burrow and Tua and all that stuff, and whatever drama of whatever player is going to be falling in the draft. All that. The only thing is we won't have a green room that's empty with one dude there, like, hey, they haven't picked
Aaron
me.
Rodgers, once upon a time.
Where am I going? Are they going to pick me ever? That kind of stuff. So, Bo was number 1 at 3.5. OJ Made in America was number 2 at 3.4 million, and Fab 5 was 2.7. Number 1 was this right here. Okay? And it was, I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun, man. It brought back a lot of memories, obviously. Bad ones as a Heat fan, because that guy put a shebang on all of us. If you're a Knicks fan, if you're a Cavs fan, if you're a Jazz fan, all of that. One of the things that also stood out to me, because I covered that era of basketball, I was a beat guy for the Heat in those days, is there was no podium, if you noticed. And you would talk right in your locker room. In today's world, the elite players and the coach go to a podium in a room, and the media's sitting down, and they've got to connect to a box, a moat box, and get their sound, right? And that's what we would do. We would get the coach at the moat box, and then we'd go to the locker room and get all of the players back in those days. And just to give you a little insight, at the Miami Arena, Michael Jordan, when he would talk to the media, and by the way, Michael Jordan was one of the best superstars to ever deal with. Okay? Like, he answered your questions. He wasn't a jerk about it. He didn't talk down to you or anything like that. He was always really respectful. Okay? Obviously, you were going to respect the GOAT, and you weren't going to, there's nothing ever really to go after him or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So you were just talking basketball, and it's the GOAT, dude. So, it's like royalty, what you're addressing, right? When you're talking to Pat Riley, it's like royalty when it comes to basketball. That kind of stuff. There's a different level when I'm putting the mic in front of Billy Owens and Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? But let me give you a little insight on how thoughtful he was also about his teammates. Because think about this. If we walked into the Bulls locker room and we got around B.J. Armstrong, it was going to be what, 3 or 4 of us that cared about getting a soundbite from B.J. Armstrong? Now, when Michael Jordan talks, every media member is there. Everyone, home, visitor, print, TV, radio, you name it. Every magazines, local news, local entertainment. everybody and anybody, okay? There are no .coms in those days, all right? There was none of that stuff was going on in those days, okay? But my point is that you had, so you know what he would do? He wouldn't do it at his locker. He would leave the locker, go to the hallway, and we would all gather around him in the hallway. Remember, no podiums, no rooms, no nothing. So in order, because it's just a locker room. So if there's 50 of us, what do you think the next 3 lockers to his left and right are? They're bombarded with media members. If you've never actually stuck out a mic trying to, and then there's a naked dude right next to you trying to get dressed, I'm telling you, it's uncomfortable. Okay? It's uncomfortable. All right? And so Michael was really cool about that, and he would actually go outside on the hallway at the Miami Arena, and we would all surround him there. And then he would answer, and he would go. It wasn't like, I remember Harvey Green would give us Dan Marino every week, and he'd give him to us, and he did this with every star. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, dude. It's Dan Marino. It's like you want to talk to him a little bit. Not that Dan wanted to talk to us, okay? Because I know Dan pretty well, and you know he's not a fan of the media overall. You know he did it. He dealt with it. He answered your questions. He wasn't really a jerk about it. I only saw Dan be a jerk, really like a jerk one time, but it was more because Jim Barry was being a bigger jerk. Okay? I know because I was there. I saw it. And I'll tell you, and I'll tell Jim, and I'll tell, and Dan knows what the hell I'm talking about. You know? So it was one of those where that's the only time I ever saw him, but I thought Jim was out of line. And so that was the only time. Outside of that, Dan was pretty good with us, but it was only 5 minutes. And he did that with any of the stars. It didn't matter who it was, whoever took over at quarterback after that, or if it was Ricky Williams or something, 5 minutes. Which was, Michael answered the questions, and we might have been there 15, 20 minutes, and then he left. But he, answered the questions. He wasn't in a hurry to get the hell out.
I'll tell you, I can remember from the show, it's when Pippen's out, and exactly like you said, the hallway, and I'm looking, and literally there's 28 or 30 mics in front of him.
Right.
In the hallway.
Yeah.
And the guy asked, blah, 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 you miss Pippen? And he okay, we got any questions about the game? You? And he goes, another pit, and it's like, hey, if you guys want to, you want to talk about Pippen, go talk. He's right there. Go talk to him.
Right.
Let's talk about the game. Okay?
And then he goes yeah, there we go. Let's go. All right, let's go.
Exactly what you're saying in the hallway. Yeah. And it's 28 mics, man.
And he did that every time I covered him when he came to the Miami Arena. Every time. Never did it inside the locker room. Again, there were no podiums. It was a different world in those days. There was no social media either in those days either.
Come to think of it, our Heat. Coach Spoelstra does the podium, and then most of the guys are locker room shot. Most of them. Sometimes they have them upstairs, with our guys. Sometimes, that.
Well, we don't have a superstar.
Jimmy, you're not going to say Jimmy.
Well, okay, Jimmy does, but he does the podium. He's the podium guy.
He does some locker room, though.
No, I think he's the podium guy. I mean, he'll do locker room after practice or something like that, but I think after a game, I believe he's podium. I believe.
It's funny the way you said that, superstar. It's like, hey, man, you forgetting about Jimmy, man?
Yeah. Well,
Bam's on his way, though.
Jimmy, by the way, I'm right on that, too. Jimmy's an all-star. He's not a superstar either. Okay? So I got a, really good player, but not a great player. But anyway, so just something that I picked up on watching, the show. And it was a lot of fun to watch, a lot of things. And I'll tell you, for you youngins out there that didn't live it, you're living it now. I want you to know, okay? You are, because you're watching Belichick. And Belichick was dying to get rid of Brady 2 years ago to move on to Garoppolo. And the owner stopped him, put the kibosh on it, forced him to trade Garoppolo. And now he has moved on from Brady. So he was in the process. No matter how many championships he won, he was dying to turn the page. Okay? And one of the things that you picked up on that, and by the way, back in those days, we were ripping Kraus. We were ripping the owner, whatever his name is. Now I'm forgetting.
Colangelo?
No, dude.
No.
Well, anyways.
The guy that owned the White Sox.
Yeah, he still owns them. Reinsdorf. And so we were ripping both of them back in those days because it's like you're winning championships. How are you even thinking of breaking anything up? How are you thinking of ending anything? You keep Phil Jackson around until he can't win anymore. You keep Michael Jordan around until his legs don't work. You keep Scottie Pippen around and pay him. What you should have done is a year out of his contract, they should have extended it then and done good by him and all that. But Reinsdorf, he even said it, well, you signed a 7-year, I'm going to hold you to it. Well, you're going to be an asshole. Dude, the guy's giving you championships. You know what? Sign him, make him happy, and keep him long-term, and keep the thing going, and you broke it up. Now, in Tennessee, they pushed out Philip Fulmer. They never recovered. The Bulls, they pushed those guys out. They never recovered. We're going to find out if Belichick can recover from this because it's too many people that are assuming that you're going to turn the page. And I told you already, I watched the wheels come off Shula. I watched the wheels come off Chuck Noll. I watched the wheels come off Tom Landry. So don't tell me that the wheels can't come off a great coach because I've watched it. Don't tell me that programs have not ruined their flow because we all know, those of us that lived it, the Bulls would have won 8 straight titles if Michael Jordan didn't take those 2 years off. I don't care what you Houston fans out there want to say. You want to convince yourselves, you want to be blind-ass fans, whatever. You were the best team while Jordan wasn't in the effing league. And so that'll be the interesting part about all of this dynamic because being old, you get perspective. Being old, you have seen things over and over again. So it'll be interesting to see if Tua follows the road a lot of injured players do coming out of college, that they stay injured. It'll be interesting to see if the Patriots can actually maintain greatness after pushing it out the door. Because when you push Shula and Marino out the door, you never recovered. And when you push Robbie out of the door, you never recovered. And if you push Philip Fulmer out the door, you never recovered. And when you pushed Michael Jordan out the door, you never recovered. So it'll be really interesting because I've seen it, I've watched it, and we'll see if they can somehow or another overcome this because the Bulls then were morons. And they've been a pathetic franchise pretty much since. They had that little run with Rose and those guys that they were pretty good. Not good enough for a championship, but they were pretty good. That small window with Tom Thibodeau. But outside of that, they've been a joke of a franchise before that and since then. Tennessee, the Vols were always an elite college football team. That's how I grew up knowing Tennessee. From Johnny Majors on to Philip Fulmer, Tennessee was always an impactful football program. The second they pushed Philip Fulmer out the door, they completely lost it. They've never regained it, which, by the way, is still baffling to me to this day that program is not one of the elite programs with that fan base, that stadium, in that conference, and that history. I mean, that's the kind of history that as a football fan, that's on my bucket list. Now it's not anymore because why the hell would I want to go see that stadium and Rocky Top when you suck? I actually really wanted to go. Like, I don't care about Texas A&M, but I'd like to go be the 12th man one day just to see because it's a pretty cool atmosphere. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I want to go to the Iron Bowl. I don't care about Auburn or Alabama. I want to do it one day. It's interesting. Tennessee never recovered. We're going to find out. because we've watched people push people out the door, and then they never even got back to that point.
Golden Dome. You'll see a game at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break. We're in hour number 4. Come back here on our program on Big O Show.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit. On select models excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with 0 down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We're back. Hey, for you music folks out there, Papa Roach will be streaming April 25th. So if you're a Papa Roach fan, they're actually pretty cool. I've seen them live at Rockville, and they're good. Today, well, actually, it's already going on. Third Eye Blind was streaming at 1 o'clock today. Death Cab for Cutie today at 8 o'clock will be streaming. Do you like Death Cab? They're actually pretty good, man.
You had asked me about that. And actually, at VSS the other day, they were jamming some Death Cab, and right behind it, Deftones.
Oh, nice. There you go. Well, and Adelita's Way is back this Saturday night at 9:30 to stream again. So just in case, if those of you out there that want to experience a little musica today or later on this week, you can do it. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up and subscribe. Always subscribe to the channel and use the share button. Pass it on to friends out there. Tell them about the show. Thank you all again for helping us, as we've hit even 200 a couple times today. We're at 160 now, so appreciate all of you out there. Big time.
I have to say, the only thing about the music stuff, most of it that I've seen, acoustic.
Oh, yeah.
It's certain song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's slower. It doesn't have that punch you right in the face, grab you, you know.
You got to have the whole band, bro.
Well,
I mean, sometimes
Hey,
you do
man.
it. Like the Stones had the whole band. Joan Jett the other day did a jam with the whole band because remember they're all in their homes.
I know.
So
I
then
know.
they've got to mix it
Well,
all, and
go-
it's just not as easy.
They all
as
don't
it
have a
sounds.
studio like Eddie in the back, 5150
Yeah.
studio in the back of the house.
Well, I would imagine that musicians should.
You would think, or at least an amp that you could plug into and
I mean,
right.
I've had a studio for myself, and I'm not a musician, but I'm a broadcaster, and I figured, okay, I need a studio to record, to practice, to broadcast, to work, all that, and I've had my own studio for, I don't know, 15 plus years now, but you would figure that most musicians should have their own studio. Antonio Mendoza says, so proud of my Finns, feels so good having options and being in control of our own destiny. Where the talk of the NFL feels good to matter. Well, the follow-up to that, Antonio, is hitting on these picks, building a hell of a team so we matter when it matters. You know what I mean? It's not about winning the draft, and it's not about winning free agency. It's about winning weeks 1 through the Super Bowl. And that's where we got to get back to, you know? Like I've told you guys many times in the past, I want to get back to the point where we are walking in to Hard Rock Stadium with confidence that the team is going to win. What I used to have when I would walk into the Orange Bowl, that I just expected the Dolphins to win. That's it. There was no other option. We're not there. We're not thinking about anything else except a W. Give me a dub. That's it, baby. Give me the dub and let's move on. I want to get back to that feeling again. That Dolphins walking in there with their chest out and saying, we're going to kick some ass today, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Noticed a lot of 420 references on 421.
Oh, well, they're a little late. Donald Brayman says, good day, everybody. What's good, Big O? Well, Donald, it's you, bro, joining all of us here. Thank you very much. We love all of you for supporting us. George says, I want to see home fan as well. There you go. And, of course, Mike Pellegrino, the hater that he is. Fins will never matter until we get a new owner. There you go. And Laurie Johnson says, I love Trump 2020. She's trumping. All right. All right. Anyway, if you guys want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. We got a bunch of them coming in. Big O, Cooper from Tampa. I love the show. 5th pick for Miami should be Simmons. 18th, Wirfs. Damn, do you think Wirfs going to fall to 18, bro? 26th pick, Xavier McKinney or Winfield Jr. And if those aren't available, then the kid from Baylor, Denzel Mims. I don't know if I would take him that high in the first round. And then sign Jameis Winston to a 1-year deal. You know, I like everything you're doing there, except for Wirfs is just not very realistic. I just don't see Wirfs falling to 18. But I'm going to remember you if Wirfs does fall there, because that's going to be a hell of a call on your part. If the Dolphins draft Tua, I'll get behind them. But 2 facts I can't get past. All his injuries have been behind arguably the best offensive lines in college. Dolphin doctors had no opportunities to check him out for themselves. Had they been able to do so, I might feel differently. Yeah, whether they check him out or not, I just don't think he can hold up. So to me, it doesn't matter. See all this, they tell me, oh, you're healthy. I don't care, dude. You break down all the time. So I can't. I think we take 2 at 5, and if not, wait till later on and draft Hurts. I think we should go QB, O-line, then running back in the first 3 picks. That's what Nick in Port St. Lucie is saying. All right? Jess, Minneapolis, always tuning in. We love you, Jess. I don't know about you guys, but Fitz bailed out in the second half of the season, plus BB's is in the Pats game. All right? Fitz played his ass off, man. And I got to give props to the guy that I did not take seriously whatsoever in Fitz. I looked at it like a nothing move, like just a guy filling in for a couple games, and then they were going to discard him. And I couldn't have been more wrong about Fitz. Okay? I couldn't have been more wrong about that guy. Interesting, published within the past 30 minutes. Hard to believe Marino would be divulging that he's pushing for Miami to take Herbert. Love the show. Where's that at? You got to, I guess you send me a link. Okay. I'll use the link and see what we got here on the link. MMQB's Albert Breer, Dan Marino pushing for Dolphins to draft Justin Herbert on the Rich Eisen show. Okay. Let's see here. Let me, you know what, Bill, let me send this to you and see if you can, I don't know how to do this. I'm trying to get the damn link. Oh, maybe we could do it like this. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying to see if I can forward it to you so you can, yes, exactly. Okay, there you go. I am now sending it to you, my man. See if you can, let's hear what Albert Breer has to say about Dan Marino wanting Justin Herbert on there. That's interesting. That's a good get, by the way. Thank you so much. Wait a minute. Let me give the right person credit here for this. Where the hell is the damn. Now I'm trying to find. Oh, here it is. Who was this? This was, I don't know. Did you put a name? Well, whoever sent me that link, thank you very much. We're gonna play it now. See if it's any good. But either way, thank you for looking out. That is interesting that Dan Marino would say that. Okay, that's I'm interested to hear that soundbite myself. Let's see. Take a look at Zach Moss highlights, running back from Utah. I've talked about. I'm a Zach Moss guy too. Whoever sent that one in, I'm with you. I like Zach Moss too. I got no problem. I think Zach Moss will be there in the third round too. So if you don't get a running back in the second, I think you can get Zach Moss. You know what? He might make it into the late second, but I think third. You got it already?
You want me to preview this or just get it up and go?
Play. What the hell? Let's take the good thing about this is we're not on radio, so we don't have to worry about a dump button or anything like that. Even if he's sending us porn, hey, we might get turned on. All right, go ahead. What you got?
I'm getting it where we're going to have it the best quality. Give me 2 minutes.
Oh, look at that. You being anal. And doing
I want to, get it all properly set up on Adobe, man.
He's actually producing there. Nice. Mike Monaco from the Bronx says, I love Trump too. What are you doing tonight, Lori? Radically says, wouldn't be great seeing Fitz with his rose-colored glasses on holding up the Super Bowl trophy? Yeah, that would be pretty funny. John Santos says, Lori, we know you're stupid. This isn't a political show. Oh, come on. Let her like whoever she likes, bro. It's a free country. Now, Lori, you shouldn't be posting it 40 times. That's annoying. See, that part is ridiculous. We get it. You love it. Go for it. It's great. Good for you. Vernon Porter, Big O, I think we're going to have a surprise team to try to swoop in. Wouldn't be surprised if it's the Cheatriots. We'll see. There you go. All right. Ramona K says, hello, Big O. Hello, Ramona. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you all for locking it in. Boss 15 is in the house. Rhinos YTH is in the house. There you go. What else? That's it. All right. Everything else. Now people want me to. Lori, you're going to get blocked. If you keep doing that, you're going to get blocked. Okay? I don't care who you love. All right? You guys know I don't really pick a side. So to me, it doesn't bother me if you like Biden or if you like Trump. It doesn't bother me. I don't really care. But, all right, you put another one. Now you're going to have to get blocked. So, there you go. And now we'll hide a user, and there we go. So there you go. We just hid you. So I don't think you guys will see Lori anymore. Unfortunately, hey, I don't mind. You love whatever. It's not gonna bother me. I don't care. But why are you gonna do it 1,000 times to bother other people? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. 786-3. Huh? How long is it? Again, we're not commercial driven, so it's all right.
It's a little bit. I'm not. It's minutes.
Oh, so it's so we don't know where it's at. So it's all rambling until. Oh wow. So now you're making Bill work actually, like really work a lot to like find the soundbite. You sent us the whole what they sent us the whole damn show. Is that what it is?
It is. I'm going back to the. It's 5 minutes and 43 seconds of fun-filled.
Okay, well, just just get me the part where.
Want me to go search and find?
Yeah, I guess so. So.
You people that are expecting stuff to be thrown up on SoundCloud, you're gonna have to take a little hiatus there for a second.
Yeah. Give us a couple minutes there, and he'll figure things out. I got a bunch of things that I do want to talk about. Did you guys see what happened in Jacksonville with Ngakoue and the owner's son? And it's a trip. Now, this is, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Ngakoue. Ngakoue is been tagged. He wants a long-term contract. He wants to get traded. He wants his money, but he's not going to get his money from the Jags. They're not going to give it to him. They're going to try to trade him, and they're going to wait for compensation. Okay? And the guy's a hell of a player, but you got to find the right team that's willing to give up the picks, and not only give up the picks, ladies and gentlemen, but then you've got to give up the contract. Remember how somebody said earlier, "Oh, we should trade for Fournette," and I said no. And I said no. Why? Because he's going into a contract year. And you don't get to have him for a couple of years. So you're going to have to give up compensation in a pick and pay him? Nah. I can draft my own running back this year without having to do that, and I don't have to pay the running back for at least 4 to 5 years, depending on where I pick him in the first or second or third rounds. So if I pick him in the second, third rounds, I have him for 4 years until I have to pay him. If I have him in the first round, I have him for 5 years, I don't have to pay him. Leonard Fournette, injury prone. I know he had a good year last year, but that's because he wants a contract. And so now I've got and a guy's lazy. I'm going to trade for him, give up compensation and money. Hell no. So Ngakoue is looking for the same thing. But again, you've got to find the right combination. The team that's willing to give up picks, because it's going to be more than one pick to get that guy, and the money. Remember, they gave up 2 picks for Ramsey, and they're going to have to give up the money. Not a lot of teams are going to do stuff like that because it's a two-headed monster. You know, if you got to overpay for somebody in free agency, well, okay, at least you didn't give up the draft compensation. But if you got to give up the draft compensation and you also got to give them compensation, that's too much. So, Yannick Ngakoue goes to Tony Khan, the son of Shad Khan. Stop hiding, Mo. Tony Khan says, I'm not hiding, sir. I'm in isolation getting ready for the draft. I've been pretty active on social media in isolation, but you wouldn't know that since you unfollowed me again, he put in parentheses. So Ngakoue then comes back at him and says, since you're feeling mighty today, let's both let the world know in on the truth. We had been in a discussion that the Chargers game was my last game. Yet you try to backdoor the situation without answering any of my camp's calls, shaking my head, you spoiled brat, holding up people for no reason, clown. He put the clown emoji. Tony Khan then answers back, It's a new regime here, sir. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the contributions you made here. That said, tweeting insults at me won't get you traded any faster. Only good trade compensation will do that. Please redirect your efforts in a more productive outlet. So Yannick Ngakoue then comes back and says, just trade me. I don't need the speech. And then Ngakoue says, show me the compensation. I'm sure you're really driving up the price today, by the way. I mean, Tony Khan took Ngakoue out. You know, he took him out the door from the bar and then gave him an ass whooping. And then Ngakoue is like crawling to his car right now. Okay, we know physically there's no way Tony can do that to Ngakoue ever. But verbally, right there on social media, Ngakoue looked like a horse's ass. I hope he's smart enough to realize that he looked like a horse's ass. I hope he also realizes that he's dealing with a team that doesn't care. And they're going to wait till they get compensation like they did with Jalen Ramsey, who has a bigger mouth than Ngakoue. And they didn't budge for him either. So if Ngakoue wants, and look, it's not like this is going to completely bury Ngakoue and it's going to hurt him. No. Teams understand that guys get frustrated, but this doesn't get you anywhere, dude. Because once you're willing to go after the owners, then everybody else worries about, well, wait a minute, what happens if something goes awry with this guy? Is he going to start going after us too now? And they don't want that. So nice job by Tony Khan, because he got Ngakoue and schooled his ass. Hopefully Ngakoue's smart enough to figure it out that he got smoked. Big O, we will draft a quarterback with the 5th pick. Smoke screens driving y'all fans into confusion. Dwayne Wood says, every QB needs everything clicking to be successful. It's a team sport. Did you watch Dan Marino go to the Super Bowl without a running game or a defense? Huh, Dwayne? I'm just saying. I don't know. I've watched Aaron Rodgers win a lot without anything. In fact, the year they won the Super Bowl, they might have had 11 players on the injured list. And some really important players, by the way. Go look at the year Green Bay won the Super Bowl. Go look at the players that were on the IR. Oh, by the way, I've watched Russell Wilson win games without a running game and an offensive line. In general, you are right, Dwayne. In a perfect world, you need everything clicking to help the quarterback out, i.e. Ryan Tannehill. But if you're elite, you're Tom Brady, you can win with Oompa Loompas at wide receiver. You understand what I'm saying? If you're Tom Brady, Gronkowski gets injured, not available to you in the Super Bowl, and you still win. If you're Tom Brady, you win with Deion Branch as the MVP of the Super Bowl. Okay? So there are moments where quarterbacks make up for shortcomings and they elevate teams. But, Dwayne Wood, just so I'll let you know, if your quarterback needs everything perfect, I want you to know you got the wrong quarterback. You got that, Dwayne? You understand that for me there, baby? If you need everything perfect for your quarterback, you got the wrong guy. Wrong guy. 100%. Wrong guy.
Okay.
Yay!
Rich Eisen with Albert Breer.
Yes.
And there's something a little interesting in front. Talking little Tua, little Herbert, little tackle.
A little QB talk.
Yeah, and then it goes into
Dolphins. So
he
has set the scene for us now.
Try to get it quick.
So it's a Rich Eisen podcast.
Yep.
They've got Albert Breer on. Albert, and they're talking quarterbacks and tackles. And then Dan Marino comes up, and the conversation of Herbert and Dan Marino, apparently. Let's hear it for ourselves on the Rich Eisen show.
You're probably going to have to be bad to get any of the quarterbacks at the top of the draft. And so I have a hard time swallowing the Dolphins just completely passing on the position. And I think if they do stick, I think they would take Justin Herbert over Tua. I can't find anybody who thinks they're taking Tua. But I have heard that little kind of nugget there that maybe they take a tackle and think that they can get Jordan Love later on. So definitely some moving pieces with them at 5, and then, of course, at 6 with the Chargers, who I think would be in play for Tua. I think would be in play for Herbert and, again, another team that you look at and say maybe they take a tackle at 6. So there's a lot of smoke out there on both those teams, but those two are certainly sort of the pressure points for the quarterback position.
Let me make sure I heard that correctly. You, Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated Albert Breer, MMQB Albert Breer, have not spoken to a soul in the last 24 or 48 hours, what have you. You didn't add that time frame. I'm throwing that out there. You haven't spoken to anybody who thinks the Dolphins are taking Tua at 5 if there's a choice between Tua and Herbert. Is that correct?
And you know what the beauty of it is, Rich? Maybe that means they are taking him. But
Okay, now this is the stuff about Marino and blah and all that.
I've heard that Justin Herbert has a fan in that organization. You know who that is?
Stephen Ross?
Dan Marino.
Oh, I've heard of him. Okay. Well, it's better than Laces Out Ray Finkel. What about Marino? Walk me through that one.
Well, I mean, he's done. He's sort of tangentially involved in everything else, and so
sure.
He was part of the. He'd sort of like jumped into the process and had done some work at the Senior Bowl, and obviously Herbert had a really strong Senior Bowl week, and so I've heard that he likes Herbert. So that's sort of an interesting nugget there. I think. Part of it for the Dolphins, of course, is, sort of looking at their 3 first-round picks and knowing the reality is that Joe Burrow's not an option for them, right? Like, so you look at the picture of it, and, I think part of it is they know they have to fill their tackle need, and how do you view Tua's medicals, and then how do you view Jordan Love versus Justin Herbert? It's interesting the way all of those pieces have moved, but I have not talked to anybody who thinks the Dolphins are taking Tua. Again, that might mean they're taking him. We'll see.
All right, so there you go. And so Barry Jackson tweets out, and thanks to Carlos Sanchez passing it on to me, certainly tilting towards Tua. From chatter in the past 24 hours, talked to NFL Power Broker last night who said he would be very surprised to see Flores take Herbert because Herbert's personality doesn't fit alpha leader demeanor Flores likes in his QB. We'll see. And to me, that's my biggest problem with Herbert. He's not a dog. That's why I think the Dolphins' interest in Herbert is more smokescreen than anything else. Because Dan Marino is like the perfect alpha dog I've ever seen at quarterback. Okay, I know those of you that are young, you just can only hear the stories, but we watched it. And I love the man that wants to take control, the guy that's going to call people out if they're not running routes, the guy that commands respect. Okay, because that's what Dan Marino did. I know because I covered him. And I know how players thought about him just being 10 feet next to him. They felt like the aura. You understand what I'm saying? And that's because there's this badass thing that happens with these guys. You can't explain it. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. Nothing. It's intangible, but it's there. Brady has it. Montana has it. Aaron Rodgers has it. Russell Wilson has it. There are certain guys that have it. Justin Herbert has never shown it. ever. Tua's got it. And so to me, that's why, while I don't trust Tua to stay healthy, I completely understand the risk at 5 because he has the it factor. So if he can keep his ass healthy, you got him. But for Justin Herbert, there's no it there. And I'm sorry, you don't develop an it factor. You either have it or you don't. Okay? Jake Plummer had moxie. He had confidence. He was cocky. He'll take chances. And he was a solid quarterback. Was never a great one, never got to that point. But he had the makeup to possibly be that kind of guy because he had that swag in him. He believed in himself. Even though he may not have been ever elite, but he had that in him that it could have developed. Never did. Okay? So I'll say he's a decent quarterback. He wasn't bad, but he was decent, right?
I want to say that Jake Plummer had he's one of the top comeback guys, right?
Yeah, yes.
The guy had moxie.
Right.
He showed up.
Right. Harbaugh had it too.
If they almost completed that pass in the playoffs, man, and beat
Harbaugh had it. Now, he wasn't, again, like Jake Plummer, never got to be an elite guy. But he had the makeup of a guy that could be elite. And you can't manufacture that. And that's why, even when I hear that story from Albert Breer, I'm thinking, how does Marino think that of this kid? And then that's where I call BS. And hey, Danny, why don't you tell people out there you like Herbert? You know what I mean? Because, think about it. Any of us that watch Dan Marino and Dan Marino sits down with Justin Herbert, come on, dude. Come on, bro. Please. I have a hard time believing that that's his Joe Burrow sitting down, cigar. Yo, what's up, Dan? Yeah, man, it's great. Joe Burrow, I can see that, dude. I can totally see Joe Burrow and Dan Marino shooting the. Okay? I don't see Justin Herbert doing that. No. Don't. Sorry. Can't. Won't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. All right? I'm going Mike Singletary on your ass. Can't do it. Can't win with him. Can't do it. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back for the final segment of the program, I promise. I don't know. Should I? Back with more.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit. On select models excludes tax, tag, title, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 5/4/20. Toyota of Hollywood is open, and we're here to serve you. The safety of our customers and associates is our top priority. Toyota of Hollywood is following strict guidelines, including social distancing and keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. Buy with zero down, 0% APR financing, and we'll make your payments till 2021. Pay up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 2019 pre-owned Camry LE, not $27,000, $16,775. 2020 pre-owned Corolla LE, not $22,000, $13,775. Shop and save at our 400,000 square foot dealership at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2019 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We back. Well, we're going for 4 hours today, and we do real hours here, not like, bogus radios. Let's see. Big O, who has the brighter future, Fins, Heat, or Marlins? That's a phenomenal question, man. That is a phenomenal question. It's hard, really, right now, because unless the Heat make a move for another star or one of the young guys explodes to being a star, I know the Heat will be a playoff team, but I don't know if they're going to be a deep playoff team. Marlins, we don't know anything yet about the Marlins. You know what I mean? And then the Heat, the Fins, they haven't made their picks yet. So, I have total confidence in them. I really do. But right now you have to go with the Heat only because there's more tangible evidence. And on the Fins and the Marlins, we have to go with guessing. You know what I mean? Whereas the Heat right now are closer to accomplishing anything compared to those other two. That's all.
In your hindsight, closer, success, Heat.
Yeah.
They got a track record.
You have to go with that.
Riley.
Yeah. Now, I don't think, championship-wise, I don't know yet. That might be another team and not the Heat. Okay? Hell, it might be Inter Miami. They might get to a championship before anybody else in town. I'm just saying.
If he gets a chance to utilize that no cap on those three players, there's going to be a lot of people in the league not happy with them.
You can't say that because those are the rules.
I'm just saying the owners are going to be like.
Because I always pick on people that slam the Yankees. Because I'm not a Yankee fan, and I hate it. Oh, no, the Yankees. Dude, that's the rules, bro. That's the rules. They're not cheating.
There's no cap.
There's no cheating. The Dodgers do the same thing. The Red Sox do the same thing. The Cubs used to do the same thing, I think. And it doesn't seem like they do it now, but the teams that have the money, bro, those are the rules.
Well, I have to correct you a little bit. We haven't been one of those teams, and that's why we've come up just short the last few years.
Well,
that's
I
bottom line. We need starting pitching. You don't go get starting pitching, and you're out of the playoffs.
No, I get
that. For you.
I get that.
But then again, the Dodgers spent the most the last 3 or 4 years, and they haven't won anything.
Wow. Tornado warning issued for New York City and New Jersey. Wow. Okay. That's not something I normally hear.
And their temps yesterday were in the 50s, I saw.
Yeah, but that's system, I guess. It's all the way up there now because it was supposed to go through the south. So I would imagine it's up there.
Just
up
traveled
north.
up the coast and.
So for those of you up in New York and New Jersey, because I know we have a lot of listeners up there, please be careful, okay? Because you guys are normally in our top 10 in downloads. New York is right up there. L.A. and New York. We have a lot of listeners in L.A. and New York. It's pretty amazing. So we got a lot of people that are interested in the teams down here and watch and listen and download and all of that. And remember to subscribe to the channel. Give us the thumbs up on it, which we're up to 103. Not bad for that. And then the share button. Share it with everybody else out there, man. Always appreciate that. You see Tom Brady was breaking the law? Did you catch that, Bill?
I'm sorry, I was over here. What?
Tom Brady was breaking the law.
I did hear something about that.
Yes.
Pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, Tom Brady. He apparently was at a park practicing. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said in a joint news briefing with St. Petersburg Mayor Rick Kreisman on Monday that a city employee spotted a man working out in a park in downtown, and it was Tom Brady.
I always tell people I'm not one to gossip, so you didn't hear this from me. But our parks are closed down, and so a lot of our park staff, they patrol around just to make sure that their people aren't in there with contact sports and things. And saw an individual working out in one of our downtown parks, and she went over to tell him that it was closed and it was Tom Brady. So,
oh my goodness!
Well, there you go.
Wow.
So, he has been cited. So. Let's talk about how wonderful our sport.
Well, there you go. So he has been cited. That is funny as hell. I mean, so Tom has to go to a public park where he then gets called out for being somewhere where he's not supposed to be. He hasn't even taken over for the team, and he's already breaking laws. Next thing you know that would have never happened with Belichick. You know that with Belichick, he doesn't do the Howard Stern thing. Now he's breaking laws. Next thing you know, it's DUIs. I shouldn't say that. That's not him, but I'm just having some fun with it. But
you know who pushed that story?
Who's that?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's in town. He's warming up. Let's get season tickets selling.
Proof. They should be sold out by now. Stadium should be sold out like it was back in the day. You know that Tampa, back in the Dungy days, they had like 20,000 people on hold for tickets. When they had that team together back in those days, that team was so popular. The stadium was sold out. And they, with what's the name of the linebacker now that I'm forgetting? And he's in the Hall of Fame. He's so damn good. The Florida State guy, I forgot his name, but those teams, man, they had 20,000 on a waiting list. It's crazy, bro.
Well, there's something that I know for a fact. Back in the day when they were in the Norris with the Bears and the Vikings and all that before they restructured the league, 20,000 Bear fans would be in Tampa when they were on the road every time. And think about it, those cold cities and stuff to get out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's why, like us, it isn't just the transplanted, New Yorkers that have come down. There's actually a lot of people from Buffalo, from the Jets, from the Giants. Mm-hmm. They get a chance to get out of the cold. You come down, man.
Yeah. Dwayne says, Big O, Patriots had a good defense those years. Yeah, but you leave out that he doesn't play with the best offense at times. And by the way, when he had his best offense, they didn't win it. When they had Randy Moss, they didn't win it. When he has a bunch of midgets, he's won it. And he doesn't have a dominant running game. Brady's first championship, Jermaine Wiggins was his tight end. Corey Dillon was his running back. And Troy Brown was his number one wide receiver. I'm not sure what you're seeing, but that's not a lot. So that's impressive when you're winning with that. New York Sports says, I am in New York. I started listening because I dig you from Mad Dog Radio. I like the fact that you keep it real and not kiss ass because you are the flagship station for a team. Happens a lot in New York City. Oh, thank you, my man. I appreciate that. That's very cool. There you go. That is good stuff. And thank you for listening on Mad Dog. And we'll be on Saturday again, 8 to 11. Having some fun. Fun until Daddy takes our T-Bird away. All right. I think we are pretty much done today. I think we've gotten a lot in today overall.
Are you sure, man?
Right?
We're 6 minutes short of
4 hours?
Completing a full 4 hour from
Yeah,
start.
because we started at 59, right?
Yes, we are a minute.
I mean, I've got stories galore, sound, all kinds of stuff, but it's just like I could probably do 2 more hours with no problem. But, I need to have a voice for the rest of the week.
Hold on.
And I need to have a voice for the draft.
I was just going to say that. Do not pull a series that you did 3 shows in one day.
Yeah, no,
type.
I can't do that.
Yeah, man.
And that screwed me up badly, bro. That screwed me up badly for a while, dude.
You're looking at a double dip.
I made it back after I took all those steroids. And then the voice picked back up again, and then I'm all right. Because I was struggling for like a month. It was like bad, bro.
Wednesday's going to be a heavy.
It was bothering me.
Thursday's a double. Friday will be a double.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Saturday.
Yeah.
Are you doing, let me ask you, are you doing Sirius?
Yes, I am.
And then you're going to do the draft at 12.
Yeah, but I'm not on every hour of the draft and all. I'm not doing that.
You're not?
No, dude. No.
I know.
No, I'm popping in and out, and we'll have it open, and we'll give people opportunities to, catch up and all that. But no, I'm not. I can't do that constantly.
No, I was going to say. Let's not run you into the ground, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We need you,
Then I won't have a voice for the following week at all.
This isn't like it doesn't. This isn't all about just this week. Like, there is another week next week.
Yep. Let's see. Dwayne says, Big O, I'm a big Finn fan. When I say everything's clicking, I mean with the other units that are in the 80s to the 90s on a scale of 100. I got you. New York Sports says, thank you, Myron. So Myron is chiming in with him. All right. I like it. All right. We got to wrap it up, folks. We are going to wrap it up here on the show. We thank all of you, as always, for tuning in. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like. Remember to share all of that while you're watching or listening, whatever. Spread the word. As always, we love you for it. And we thank you for the amazing support that we get. Thanks to Bill and Philippe. As always, getting it done here on the program. We will see you tomorrow right here in studio. Thursday, we'll be at Toyota of Hollywood. Friday, we'll be at Craig's Inn Acura. We will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. with an absolutely loaded draft show. Be good.
Stay safe.